What's up, fam?
What up?
How we feeling this week?
Dude, great.
Feeling good, man.
You gotta
Feeling
get
awesome.
on this mic, bro.
I was like, hey, you guys are
It's good enough if you're kind of like within the vicinity, like right here, it'll still pick you up.
Yeah,
You don't gotta be like
true.
right on it.
I'm all, don't be shy. Don't, hey,
shy.
Gotta
hey,
keep
don't be
that
shy
Jack
now.
Daniels within the
Eating the
vicinity.
mic.
Shy, talk some more.
But thank you guys for coming on this week to the Heavens Demons podcast.
Yes, man, thank
We
you.
got the boys from Selected Series. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
My name's Renee, aka Disco.
Yo, my name is Luis.
The suspense.
My name is David, guys. Nice to for you guys to have us. It's really a pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure's all ours,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
As you guys could see, we are not equipped to handle more than 4 people at a time.
Hey, not yet.
Not yet. But we're making do what we got.
Yeah.
Topo Chico sponsor us.
Please, Schizo Kitty, hit my line.
Hey, bro.
I'm fighting for that sponsorship.
We can still make those DNA dildos work.
Hey, it could still be a
Entrepreneurs
thing.
At the end of the day. We're entrepreneurs.
Cheers to that.
We're not too prideful for a sponsorship. Whatever you need us to put, like right here, it could be flowers and whatever toys
Hey,
they
Oh.
have debut.
hey, everybody's got a price.
Speaking of flowers, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
speak
speaking
on
of
that a
flowers.
little bit.
If you guys want to do a little shout out.
That's a nasty segue,
shout out.
bro.
I know, right? Lean into it. Hold up. On that note,
When you leave Schizo Kid, you can get flowers from this spot.
dude, we just sell anything, bro.
Hey,
Straight up.
It's a talent.
You already get that sponsor. I already know
I
it.
hope so.
Topic of the flowers here. Shout out Hermanos
Yes,
for hooking us
shout 'em
up
up.
with this flower set right here. David, you want to add anything else about that? Because you were actually the one that picked it up, right?
Yeah. I spoke with Adrian, and he's just like super, I guess I want to fill them in a little bit more on why I went and got these flowers. Renee just had a show.
Yeah.
So I think both projects are probably gonna come out like this episode and that what would you call it, Hermanos Flower Shop concert?
Like performance, mini concert.
Live concert series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were very gracious with giving us these flowers, and I wanted to like give you guys your flowers and kind of say like,
Appreciate it.
you guys deserve like the all the hard work you guys have been putting in, and it goes without saying like we recognize what you guys do, and like I feel like we're about the same trajectory or and even like
Even
Same
timeline-wise.
goals.
timeline wise,
Yeah.
right? And so I wanted to come and give you guys your flowers, like literally, and say like thank you for inspiring us and also putting us on.
Yeah.
Like it was really
No, dude, hey, thank you.
Thank you,
We
man.
appreciate that like little sentiments like that go further than you could think. And I'm sure you guys know the same when you guys get feedback on anything you guys do. As small of a sentence as it could be means the
Right.
world at
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
you know?
Right. Especially from the people that it's coming from too. Sometimes. you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's like all the creatives that we talk to and all that. It's just super.
or
yeah,
even
so-
a simple repost
Yeah.
just kind of says like, oh,
A
people
DM,
people
bro.
are watching, or somebody just being like, hey man, thanks. Like I have a shameful plug, but I have a seed planner podcast, and those podcasts are really like hard and also hard. Like they're hard to make because people are exposing themselves.
Right.
And I get DMs where where they say like, thank you for that, I needed it, or like it inspired me, and like that's why I do it. I don't do it for the millions of likes or views or anything.
Because you already have the 50 million viewers.
Yeah.
No, hey, they're there. They're there. You don't need the reassurance anymore.
But that one person that's like, hey, thank you made my day, or thank you, that
Yeah.
inspired me, or that kind of changed my trajectory,
Yeah,
that's golden,
It
man.
means a lot, bro, and I appreciate the sentiment. So they're kind of setting the standard for new.
Hey, future guests, y'all better
Yes,
come equipped.
First, it was Poncho with
Four
with
Locos.
fucking the drinking
Oh,
game. Yeah,
the
bro.
bags.
The bags there, like we pick whichever one to drink. That was classy move on his part. But he
Shout out
brought up
Harvard.
2 flowers. Shout out Harvard.
Shout out Harvard. Y'all getting a good one.
Just Harvard things.
Hey, y'all getting a good one.
But yeah, bro, like I appreciate it, like being peers in the same. We're in a literal desert, but also a creative desert. Like there's not we're full of creatives, but as far as like putting each other on and like podcasting is so new out here. and to see like other people doing podcasts as well, and kind of just following each other and keeping an eye on like seeing what you guys are doing, what we're doing, kind of that motivation. Without even like needing to directly speak to one another,
For sure.
and kind of just like, okay, if they're still going, we got to keep going, and
Right.
vice versa type of thing. And like seeing everything that you guys do, like I know for myself personally, like we were kind of talking before we started the podcast.
We had a
and-
full on like 2 hour
I
conversation.
I said kind of talking to each other.
Yeah,
2 hours, we're best friends now. But
More similarities I would have ever thought.
more than I could have ever guessed. And Daniel alluded to that, like you guys would get along really well. You guys are like, it's just the Westside version of you guys. It's the same
Literally.
thing, close friends.
West side, east side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm off. Fuck. Sorry about that.
See, bro. But yeah, like I don't even know where I was going. No, like you guys' aesthetic and how well you guys put everything together. Like
Production,
I could
everything.
wish to,
Likewise.
like I practice to try to get to that. I'm like, fuck, these guys have the production down. These guys have the quality, and it's
Appreciate
like,
that.
fuck, like it's kind of like conversation amongst ourselves. Like, okay, we got to step it up when we post. Like, we
Yeah.
got to do this. Like, kind of format it a certain way, and like they got to so well put together. So it's like motivation. I'm sure like the other way around, like how you were saying
Yes,
earlier.
bro.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know, the beautiful thing about podcasting is that the famine mentality doesn't exist, and like we jump on each other's podcasts to elevate each other, to congratulate each other, to bring new listeners to like you guys. People are like, oh, what are you guys doing to this week? And I was explaining to them, and they're like, oh, cool, something new to listen to, something fresh. And I was very excited for the people that I was putting on to listen to your guys' podcast. And I think that goes as far as we want to push it, like collaborating with so many different people out here in the desert makes it so much easier to make things happen. And why not collaborate with you guys so that we can open more doors for ourselves and for you,
Exactly. And sharing knowledge, and just getting inspired from something that that you're used to doing that unknowingly, like it's just what you do. And then taking bits and pieces from there, like picking apart, like, oh that's why they do this, or like this is kind of their approach. And it's cool because we were talking like the inception of our podcast, because we were formerly known as the DNA podcast, was around the same time, like maybe a few months apart.
Crazy.
And
It
to
is
see
crazy.
like we're still going now, like
Yep.
we come from out here, like people trying stuff but it not really being consistent, lasting, not being executed right. And like
Right.
for us to still be doing a podcast going on 2 years, both of us, it's like, bro, that's a long fucking time for out here. Like, oh, you guys are still doing that. Like people get
Right.
shocked. Like it's a respect thing of doing something that long that nobody else is really doing.
yeah.
Like
100%.
when we see Worm, and Worm is another one that we look up to because
Shout out
he's-
Angel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out Angel. Like he's on the east side of the valley. Like he's the one that's been doing it the longest. So it's like taking parts of that. It's like, fuck, we're all still going. We're all kind of motivating each other whenever we see one another. Like I remember we're at Everbloom, and that's kind of like our hub.
Shout out Everbloom.
Shout out Everbloom, and Hermano showed up, and we're just talking like we were about to head out, and said a similar thing. Like we talked for like 2 extra hours with them, just like like it's almost like a comrade type of thing.
Right.
Like we're both in this trying to do something new that's not really done out here, and we're kind of like on the forefront of it. And just that support goes so far. Like these flowers, like it validates all the hard work that we've put in, and because you guys know it's a fucking grind to come in,
Fuck yeah.
to come in and like think of like what the fuck are we gonna talk about. Like
Facts.
what are we gonna
That's true.
do? What new thing can we do to get people to listen?
And even like the time, like I remember back in the days when it was Darren was included, and it was hard getting everybody together. Everybody has jobs, different things going on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
now with two, it's a little easier, but I can only imagine you guys. Like
Right.
it's
It's an
you guys
obstacle,
do a
yeah.
lot of different things,
Right.
and to get everybody on the same page means one thing is you guys value it and you guys
Right.
want to do it. Because if not, you wouldn't show up.
It's the outcome most of all. I think like how big we've been able to grow, like from where we started to now, is what keeps us like
Yeah.
in line and keeps us pushing, because we all three of us could be doing something different, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
but I think it's just we have this like just way of motivating each other and just keep going and stuff that just 2 years strong, man. And it's cool to see that like when we first started, we didn't know of any other podcasts that were still going or that were going on, right?
Yeah.
So to know about you guys and stuff,
And learn
and
that.
to know that like you're chasing the same kind of thing and like learning as we're learning 2 years into it, like that's cool, and that's why we
Yeah.
wanted to huddle up and kind of talk with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Well, I want to, because obviously there's a leader here among the three. Whose idea was it for the podcast? Because for us, it was me. I've been wanting to do it for at least 5 years before we actually even did it.
Yeah.
So for you guys, who was it?
I think it was me. I had a buddy that put me on podcast, and
Which was one of the first that you're
Listening to.
yeah.
I would say because it's like the most known, the most recognized one is the Joe Rogan.
Right.
Yeah.
And during that time, he was barely blowing up.
Mhm.
So he was having these like all his homies on, and so it was fun because he had all the
Yeah.
comedians on. And I'm a custodian. Around that time, I was working the night shift, and I was just completely all to myself.
Yeah.
So I needed somebody talking to me in my ear just to get through the day every day. It was like I get out at 10:30. So I had so much, like his library is so big. So I went back and like just started listening. Dude, I've clocked in over probably like 10,000 hours of just listening to different podcasts. And
Yes.
so I was like, you know what? We should do this shit. I should hang out with my friends and talk about the bullshit that these fools do just for fun. And so I would run into my friends, and I come off the cuff all the time, like left field type of shit. And everybody's like, yo, what the fuck? What do you.
Hey, yo, my man.
Yeah. So I'm always
Why
like,
the fuck would you say that?
Nah, step the fuck up, dude. Step up.
check it out. I'm having conversations in my head,
it's
and then
bad.
I'll say something to Renee, and then he'll be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but then I'll fill him in. He's like, all right, cool. And I did the same thing with Luis. I was like, hey, Luis, I have this idea about a podcast, and his eyes lit up. We were getting a haircut, and I fucking shoot everybody's ear out. Like every time I see them, because we don't see each other that often. In that moment, I was like just spitting all these ideas, and this fool's
Word vomit.
eyes just kept lighting up. I was like, oh, I think we're on the same frequency.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. I think the only reason why it popped off was because Luis said yes, let's do it. Because usually if it's a good idea, and that's where I kind of learned to kind of bounce ideas off of him, is because he's like, yeah, go for it. And like 99.9% of the time, I don't want to say 100 because nothing's perfect, but every time he says yes to something, that shit pops off. And it's like, it's clean. Like execution, yeah, all the work is like probably me, but I'm like, hey, Luis, what about this? What about this? Same thing with Renee. Like, what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of that? And it's just like, sometimes I just like all day sending them shit. And,
Literally, bro.
Yeah.
and
Like,
just
for
like
hours.
just like
I'll
designing
go back
shit,
and be
and
like,
like, what do you
oh,
guys think about
okay.
this? What do you
Silent.
He's just right back. Yo, that was sick. Whatever you say.
Basically.
It's too long to go down, but sure.
Yo, at the time, have you guys heard of the Short Story Long podcast with Chris Pfaff? He's drama, Rob Dyrdek's
Oh yeah.
cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something? He's got a podcast.
Mhm.
Have you heard of Project Mindset
No.
with Kevion?
Mm-mm.
He's like a
Oh,
real estate
maybe.
agent mogul in LA. At the time, I was listening to them, and they were all about putting business owners on. So that's why my eyes lit up, because he was telling me, hey, let's start a podcast. I listen to Joe Rogan too, so I was kind of hearing what he was saying, and I was like, dude, let's do it about up and coming businesses out here, like just up and coming, like hustlers, like that person that's that's sitting on an idea, that's been sitting on an idea, that just needs that extra push to follow along with it, because we've all been there. So that's kind of where it stemmed from as well. So I'd say like
But
him and
tell
I.
him at the time we didn't have a name,
Yeah.
so you can kind of fill
Oh,
them in
yeah,
with
yeah.
The
that.
name is the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You
sure,
have to
for
have a
sure.
good name.
And then little did we know, I had been sitting on it, but we were trying to come up with something. I remember Travis Scott at the time had that Dot Wave Radio, the Apple Music show, and I just like that concept of wave, right? Like WAV, wave file music.
I see.
Yeah, so like that's kind of what we wanted to do, and then I don't know, like it just
I was
wasn't catching on or something. Like,
I think it's just like it was the market's so saturated with .wave or wave, anything with wave.
Website
There's
and stuff was
everything.
shot. Yeah, that's
Everything
right.
was taken up. Like anywhere, any website, anything was already taken up. So I was like, bro, this shit is hard. And so I would send him stuff, designs, and it was just like flatlined, you know, there's like no heartbeat to anything. And then he's like, oh, but you were doing something with
Yeah.
with Ricky, right?
Yeah. With the buddy we had already.
Mike's hero.
We had just start passing around. We had already licensed Selected Series for a clothing brand that around 2013, 2014 we were trying to pursue, but at the time, you know, the whole printed screen shirts, that whole wave was dying, so we didn't follow up with it, sat on the name, didn't do anything with it, and then I remembered and said, okay, this is a perfect opportunity. And that name just kind of coincides, is like, let's be selective about who we get on.
And we asked for permission because Ricky, what started it
Yeah,
with
yeah.
our homie Ricky. Shout out to Ricky. He's another guy. Like he's a father of 3 right now, but he would have been perfect on this journey with us because his creativity is like,
Yep.
it's like way out there, and his style is cool as fuck. But he's a dad, and so his focus is like
There's limitations.
nothing else
Yeah.
but his kids. And so it's like, hey, yo, what's up, Ricky? Like, let us use the name.
Or else.
No, but he was all about it
I'ma come
because
see you.
because they were just sitting dead on it,
Yeah.
and they really I don't know if they thought that it would get to where it's at now, but thank you, Ricky, thank you, Luis, for like putting that on, and ever since he said like I have Selected Series on deck, and I was like, bro, like. My imagination just went wild, and so I spent a couple months, right, just going back and forth, and yeah, it just came up out of just like one day I like 3D shit, so like within the S there's another S if you look at it, and it kind of creates like a universal 8, so it's like forever. It's kind of cool because you can flip that shit, and like it's all symmetrical, so I like symmetry too. So you can turn it and it'll still be the same. Like you read it backwards and upside down, whatever. So it just stayed.
All in all, chase your dreams, kids.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
No.
No, dude.
Trust me.
You clearly don't listen to the podcast. Hey,
Clearly, don't listen.
don't listen to what
Hey,
he
know
just
your
said.
host.
You know the
read the room, bro. Read the room,
funny
bro.
thing.
This room was brought to you by drugs.
Yeah, 100%.
When I was in school, they used to run that DARE program, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, yo, but the teachers are preaching about not doing drugs, but they're over here popping pain pills, popping
Doing
all this.
drugs.
Yeah, doing drugs, and it's like,
Drinking.
yeah, and so it's like
Doing the wrong drugs, by the
you,
way.
you guys are advocating for not doing drugs, but you guys are all on like antidepressants,
Right.
drugs, like.
Bro,
What do
I'll
we-
be honest, like, we're at that age now to where our friends or people we went to school with are teachers.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Facts, yeah.
wait, that person's a teacher?
You're not a teacher.
So, like, imagine
Bro.
our parents and they know who your teacher is. Like, wait, that fucking person's a teacher?
Yeah,
Like,
oh,
what?
shit.
They're probably high right
Yes.
now.
And they were.
And
Most
they
of the time,
were.
they were.
Yes.
They were, bro. Like, I know, like...
Shout out to our
there'd be-
teachers.
Bro, there'd be
For
teachers.
real.
I'm not gonna name no names, but like there'd be teachers like my dad be like, no, that person's for sure stoned because I saw them.
He's all smoked with them.
Yeah, I smoked with them,
smoked
bro.
them
Like
on-
they're
on
probably
lunch.
like that's the only way you could deal with kids.
Right.
Is you got to be on something. Like,
Even coffee is a drug, you know, like, and they're always drinking coffee
cheapest
with their
drug
little,
there is.
yeah, with their little Starbucks
Taking
cup
a crack.
and shit.
Shout out
Yeah.
Vietnamese coffee.
Yeah, I was.
Bro, Vietnamese cold brews that had me in a chokehold for like a year when I
Well,
was.
I asked for
a
toilet
bartender.
paper earlier.
Yeah,
That's
he
it
did.
right now, bro.
That is my drug of choice,
Yeah,
and that is
bro.
what I was
Cold
on
brew,
before
bro,
I got
whatever
here.
y'all be doing over there to your cold brew.
Yo,
keep
it's that
doing it.
slow drip
Hey, there's a
method.
reason. There's a
that
reason
slow
they
drip.
didn't lose the war. There's
Yeah,
a reason. These people are next level. And I love all my Vietnamese people.
Yeah.
All of them.
Bro,
Shout out y'all.
Yeah.
I'd be
Yes.
dead tired, bro. And I remember my homegirl, she put me onto it. I'm a chatterbox. Like I love to talk with people I feel comfortable with.
Would have never guessed.
And oh yeah, would never. But I remember just being on a sugar rush the first time I drank it. I'm like, wait, have I? She's like, you've been talking a while. I'm like, fuck. Like this is crazy. I remember drinking that like because I was bartending at Agua, And I'm like, every shift I'd stop by Coffee Bean, get a Vietnamese cold brew, until I found out that Java, the spot inside the casino, also had their own Vietnamese cold brew. I'm like, why the fuck am I going here? I can just get it like right here. So Vietnamese cold brew, I had to like, I don't really have an addictive personality with like when it comes to drugs, but when it comes to like coffee or energy drinks, like with caffeine, like.
Were you over here next door earlier?
No. Hey,
my name is Adam.
She's like,
I'm
Adam,
addicted to
what
coffee.
Are you doing? I'm like, I've never met you in my life. Like, no, there's an AA meeting going on.
Right.
And funny enough, those are my initials.
It's currently going on.
It's currently going on. She's like, Adam, like, I'm gonna see you in there, right? I'm like, no, I
Co-owner.
don't even know who you are.
Co-owner.
Hey,
Don't embarrass
let's
me in
just
front
hurry
of
up
my
and get back to the
friends.
office.
Adam, usually here on Wednesdays.
You're here early. But yeah, what the fuck are we talking about?
I don't know. We went kind of all over the place.
Oh,
But
no, the Inception. Okay, so like, it was your idea. Now, with it being like, what you're doing now, is that along the lines of what you first had envisioned? Like, for all you guys, because obviously it was you, him, and then he came into the picture later on. Like, are you guys, like, because we started with, you know, the DNA podcast, and it was funny enough, me and Darren and I, and then he ended up moving back from Fullerton. I'm like, you know what, Arturo should be a part of it. We'll add just a second A to it, flow together, type of thing. So for you guys, are you guys, because obviously we're not the same podcast we were when we first started, so like,
No,
are you
not at all.
guys doing the same, like, are you guys on the trajectory that you originally thought, or
think
is
so.
it formed into something else?
No, we are, dude. The only thing different really is that we started just audio only for our first 2 episodes. But yeah, it's the same. Renee was our first guest.
Right. Yeah.
Renee was our
I was
first
supposed
guest.
to be just like the audio engineer. So I was like, I was going through a heartbreak, and I was like, like I just wanted to hang out with them.
just
So
slowly
I was like, dude, I can be
into
the audio engineer.
he's
you
all
know?
sure I'll fuck with
brought
this.
him in.
He's like, how many times can I remix Marvin?
A lot.
I
Hey.
guess I could squeeze in your fucking bullshit podcast.
Honestly, he gave us a break. He gave us a break. No, but that's really what it was. I was just trying to kick it, and obviously me and David, it
Not
was like
slip
after a
into that.
soccer game, bro. And I came over to come help them with their audio stuff, and then we just did like a mock interview, and then it became like the first fucking episode or whatever. But then after that, I was like, all right, I guess I'll
just
stick
stuck around.
around.
Hey, you're the
bro.
permanent,
Like,
the permanent guest.
yeah, literally, bro.
I'm taking a break from crying. Like, you guys want to do like we
I got
can do that
time.
mock interview thing again.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Literally.
I didn't have to
I'll
cry.
be whoever you want me to be.
That's literally what happened.
You guys didn't make me cry. I'll stay. I'll stay.
I'll stay. Kind of feels good over here.
So when I was in school, I went to school for graphics, and the school that I went to focused on putting people on Disney, Nickelodeon, all that type of stuff. And so in my head, I was like, oh, I want to be a designer or something for those companies. And I was like, oh, well, I'll go and get my foot in the door that way. Then I moved back, and I realized, like, yo, those are just, like, weird illusions. Like, I really didn't really want to do that kind of stuff.
Who needs Disney?
Right. But then I realized, like, I was like, you know, that same celebrity kind of mentality where it's like you walk somewhere and you feel welcomed everywhere you walk into. I realized, like, I was unknown out here in the desert. I used to run track, so that was a little bit of a, you know, a ego kind of stroke when I would show up to different schools and like run and win the meet and stuff. And so I got a little taste of that. But then I starting the podcast, I realized that doors don't get open unless you open them yourselves. And so I was like, oh, I went back in my head and thinking about how people are known out here because they make a name for themselves, you know? And so that's what I've been kind of just running with. It's just like talking to people and just being myself, being vulnerable, putting myself in a position where I'm relatable or we're relatable. And it's like, yo, we have same commonalities. Like, I reached out to you guys and you guys were super graceful to open the doors for us. But it's like that. It's like you put in the work, you show what you got, and then little by little, like, it doesn't happen right away. It's just like you gonna have to kind of just grind and chip away. Like the first time that I realized that this whole podcast could be something was when we did our mixer, and I reached out to all these companies out here in the desert. And this is a cool idea if anybody wants to do it. if you have something going on and you want to put something together, reach out to the companies out here, these local companies. They want to have exposure themselves, you know. So we put a little basket together, and I made coupons, and a bunch of people showed up. That was like that was my first taste of like what selected series could be, you know, because we had from Gabinos throwing in like free crepes.
We had our shirt release. I think that first shirt release, right?
We had a barbershop homie throw in a coupon for a haircut by him, and like what else? We had restaurants, La Bonitas, just a big gift basket of like
it was
local,
cool. It was cool. It was cool.
Local vendors. And we raffled it out at the end of the night. It was a success. We networked with a bunch of people. We got new contacts.
We got really drunk.
Yeah, we met all these photographers. It was crazy. You say we got drunk? Yes, we did get drunk. We did get
That's
drunk. Shout out
bullshit,
Las
man.
Palmas.
Exactly.
Celebrate your victories.
Yeah,
Yes, bro.
That was fun, dude.
The way we look at it, like, you have to celebrate your own personal victories, because, like, if you're gonna wait on applause from other people, like, it's gonna be pretty quiet.
Yeah, and
Like,
it probably won't happen.
And it probably
So
won't
true.
happen. Like, you
Right,
gotta be able to, you know, recognize what you're doing, and you may get caught up in the work of, you know, the grind of, you know, we gotta record, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, and like you gotta sometimes take a step back and realize like how far you've actually come. And with you guys, like it's something like, I don't know if it was on a whim, but like you guys just reaching out and that little bit of effort, and then what you experienced was like a proof of concept.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
oh, this
That's
could
exactly
be
what it
something
was.
if we just keep doing this. Like,
Yeah.
this could kind of, you know, this could work. Like, we don't even know exactly 100% what this even is, but it's something. Like, it could be, like, or I might do this differently type of thing.
That event, that's exactly a good point there. That event actually happened like 2 weeks before COVID got popping, and it shut us all down.
Yeah.
So we were on like this big high, getting ready. We did go about it on a whim, and like it was a success. We met a bunch of people, and then boom, COVID happens, and then like we're just at home now.
He's all, I'm back to crying.
He's back to crying.
He's out. Here we go, Drake.
He's all, gotta face my demons.
I'm
again.
losing creativity. It's a mess, bro. But
Talk about though, like being each other's hype man. Like, talk about
Yeah, no,
that.
100%.
We do that shit every day. Like,
100%. Go ahead.
every day, like Renee's doing big things right now. He's on like super like blue flames. He's hot as fuck right now. He's
love you,
killing
man.
it. And that's what we do. Like we congratulate each other every day. Like we find something cool to like clap for each other every day, you know? And I think that's what we need as like Hispanics or just men.
Yes, men.
Like
Even more so with like Hispanic men.
Yeah.
There's men and then there's Hispanic men. Like there's no like in that community, it's like, bro, you're not really giving each other props. Like you're talking
You're
shit
barely.
most of the time.
The only emotion that is deemed acceptable is anger.
Yeah, or laughter, like
Or
laughing
laughter,
on the
yeah.
other person, like with anything that they do. So like with us, like you have to introduce that. Like you got to kind of normalize it.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it before we even recorded. Like the fact of men amongst each other don't know how to take compliments.
Right.
They'll take it kind of and then deflect it back like, oh no, bro, like you're
or make it pretty like homoerotic,
Yeah.
you know. And when we grow up,
That's a
we don't
great
know,
word.
you know, you grow up and
I
you're
know
like,
what you meant, bro.
yeah.
That's a great word.
you know, you
No, I know
say all
exactly
these,
what
you
you
say
mean.
these jokes and stuff, and like I realized because I would mess around with Renee all the time. Because all right, check it out. Renee, when he was in high school, he would walk around with sunglasses in class.
How I came in earlier? That's
Yeah.
exactly how I
In-
come in.
Oh, so you're always lit.
in class,
You're
bro.
always
In
lit.
class. In class. He would
But
wear
not
his
because
glasses.
like I was like big headed or anything. I just was like,
Did you not like?
that was like my
eyes?
style, bro.
soccer practices.
He's out there on the soccer field with shades.
Bro,
Can't see
all the
shit.
time.
Can't see shit. No, fucking Renee, put him on the bench.
He was our
He's out
goalie
there
though.
fucking
Fucking goalie varsity since freshman
Fucking
year.
Renee
dude.
Charles out there.
So we gave him this nickname of Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And I was always like talking shit. Like we'd get on the bus and I'd be like, Renee, you're fucking
He'd
ugly,
be like,
bro.
He'd look at me, he'd be like, Renee. And he'd be like, I'd be like, what, bro?
He's
He'd be
feeling
like,
himself, right?
You're fucking ugly, bro. Like,
I had that ugly face beneath them
I was
shades.
skinny as fuck, bro. He'd be like, bro, estás bien fucking gordo, bro. Lose some weight.
But in all actuality, it's just you hating yourself and throwing that shit on on other people, right?
Oh,
and,
1000%.
and being insecure and trying to make somebody else feel the way you feel. And so you throw shade. knowing that this person's gonna feel like shit, and now he's joining your fucking shitty
Yeah,
environment.
misery needs company.
Right, but now it's completely turned 360, and we're fucking
180?
180. Sorry,
I was like, you want to talk about it?
no, because
we're almost there. We're almost there.
We do all the time. Like
Yeah.
we talk shit, but we know where it comes from now,
Yeah.
and it's not as like fucking jarring or.
And
like,
I knew where it came from too. I mean, that's why we were homies still to this day.
Yo, because he's fucking ugly too. So.
So I know he don't mean it.
So and I was always, I was just always passive, in high school. So I would be like, I'd fucking laugh at it, just just how
He's
I
like,
am
yeah,
now.
I'm the ugly one.
Yeah, I am fucking ugly. But so
I know where you fucking
just
live.
seeing him grow into the person that he is now, is like it is crazy, 'cause
Yeah.
especially like these last 5 years, he's like. Especially these last 3 years that I feel like that I've seen him now that I'm more in his life. Creatively, he's just like bursting out of his bubble, dude. Because I always describe this to everybody. David is like a foot on the revving the engine, bro. But like it's taped and it has like a fucking piece of wood so it can't move. Like literally, bro. It's like zzz.
All gas, no
That's
brakes?
his fucking yes, bro.
All
That's
gas,
his
no
mind all the time. And I think he needed something like the podcast to really just shine himself, because I feel like David's always been very like reserved about how good, bro. I told him, I said, bro, you're probably one of the best graphic designers that I know, and I know a lot of graphic designers, and I tell him that shit all the time, and I just want him to know that. Well, you always know that, but I never say it on the podcast. But bro,
I'll never do it in public.
Because I'll never do it in public.
but it's just like all of our creative homies, like everybody's just so talented. It's just a matter of getting on that platform and being able to.
And also, it's spotting the talent within your friend group of, yeah, you might not be the best in this moment, but it doesn't mean you can't be.
Right.
Because you're showing you have some potential, or it's like, the first time I ever showed Arturo like I could actually write. It's like, bro, that took a lot out of me to even show, and like having that understanding of these creative endeavors, like it's a part of who that person is, and it's very, they're fragile with it. Like it's not something. It's something I do when I go home when I'm by myself, like when I'm crying to Marvin's room and I'm writing something in the shower, and with clothes on, so to make it even
That's
more
a
dramatic.
vibe. That's a vibe, bro.
Hey, with clothes on and one hand on the wall.
That's a vibe.
Hey, we've all been there.
Hey,
People are still there.
It's like when you like how you're alluding to, like when you're vulnerable. Hey,
Y'all wanted to be on this podcast?
This is how it's gonna go.
Hey, it goes a certain way.
Yeah, Mexican men though.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
it's
man.
like, but
Shout
so
out
to be
Mexican
vulnerable
men.
and to like, I'm glad like we're kind of normalizing that and kind of seeing like, we both work with our fathers and seeing how they are with their friends and kind of like you're seeing that, but then you realize like with you like, oh, I don't need to be this way. Like I know how this guy jokes with his homies, and then when he goes home, it's like, well, do I want to be like, how do I want to be with my friends, and how do I want to be when I come home? Like I just want to be happy and like I just want to do what I want to do. Like you're able to see both spectrums of like, okay, work hard every day and maybe you'll get to experience like all your hard work that you put in, like the luxury of it. Or you could just do what you want and figure out a way to like make this your life, like, and you'll live a happier life. It'll probably be the same amount of time, but it's more fulfilling. Like you're doing what you want to do, and like I think that you guys found that unknowingly, like with doing the podcast, and like probably that event that you guys put on was like an eye opener of like what it could be, what I want to do. So it's dope to see.
Yeah.
We kind of live vicariously through each other. Like Luis has a lot of stuff. He loves sports, and I after I stopped running track, I couldn't stand like the competitive thing because I felt like they were on some like slave shit and like collegiate sports and like basketball sport.
Talk about the most
Professional sports, modern day slavery.
Yeah,
right.
Along with
So
the
then
prison system.
he likes that shit, and so like I join him. And Renee likes music, and so I'll go and join them. Like I live through those moments with them, and it's really nice. And I'm sure they express themselves through me too. Like when they have an idea, like I'll try to like make it happen for them. And that's how we keep it, pushing. It's really cool. And then probably through you guys, like through Heaven's Demons, like. How did you guys come up with the idea, like the concept of it,
Well, ever since I've known him, he's always been very creative. Like even in high school, like he was always a creative, naturally person. And I remember when we moved in college, he was talking about a brand, and it was a different name, and he was kind of explaining it. I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. Like I could see how this could be a thing. But at the time, like he wasn't, nobody in college is, but nobody's equipped at that age to really handle anything and take on more responsibilities that you already have. So I remember when we came back, we started the podcast, or when I came back from college, we started the podcast, and then he started modeling and doing all these things. And he was bringing up like, oh, maybe you should do like a brand now. And I'm like, well, you're in that kind of industry already. Like, I don't see why not. Like, there's no reasons why you can't do it. If you see somebody else do it in your community, that should be all the motivation you need. Somebody like you that looks like you, yeah, go ahead, why not? And he kind of just went over some designs, and we were looking at some stuff in my house, and he's well, you wanna do this? And I was like, well, fucking A. I mean, I have a camera, I have some other stuff. Like, yeah, I could be like the back end of the kind of like the brand, and he could explain more on the name because he kind of came up with it.
Yeah, like so the brand, like from in high school, like I have an uncle that's in the fashion industry, and I love to dress. Like I always tell myself, like my mom ever since I was young was like, dress how you represent yourself, like you're gonna meet the love of your life that day. Like you want to be able to look good, you want to have yourself well put together, and if you look good, you feel good. And I've always had that in my head, and like seeing other brands, and like that was when, you know, Diamond Supply, the Hundreds, and all these brands were popping off, and I'm like, well, I could do that. Like I could just think of something, and I had a whole concept of a brand. Like I come up with things really fast, but I also go in depth. So it's like I could come up with something real quick, but I can layer that to like, okay, and make it come full circle. And so the brand was, but it's like, bro, I don't have $1,000 to get these shirts made and to pay these people, and that, like, we're all broke in college. Like I can't afford to do it. So the idea lived and died like right then and there, because it's like, all right, we need $1,000. Where the fuck are we gonna get that? So that was back in 2013. So going on and like going through my own, you know, my journey and living life, going to college, getting kicked out of college, coming back home, and like just living life. And I've always had, you know, those aspirations of like, you know, maybe one day I could be a creative director, like how we were talking about off camera, like, you know, seeing with music, like my dad, and like, you know, maybe one day I could be a rock star too. And then like seeing with my uncle, like maybe one day I could have my own fashion line and be a creative director. Like he had his own fashion line and worked for Chanel and all this stuff. I'm like, you know what, he did it, I could do it. Like we have the same blood, like why can't I do that same shit? But I never had the confidence to do it. Like I've had the idea, and ideas are great, but that's 10% of the battle. Like the other 90% is actually doing it. And I just didn't have it. And I was like a self-sabotager of like, you know, I'm so afraid of failure that I would much rather fail right out of the gate and be like, oh, fuck it. Well, you know, it wasn't meant to be.
Which, mind you, is frustrating because he likes to like really get his ideas out there, and I'd hear him, and I'm like, bro, like, yes, like that makes sense. Like, why just do it? Yeah. And I could see him for a while, just like not wanting to pull the trigger, and it sucked because I was still like living out in Orange County at the time, and he was back over here, and he was still kind of communicating these things through text, and I was like, yeah, dude, like, do it. And I feel like when I came back, it was kind of a way for both of us to, if there's ever any reason to not pull the trigger, that's gone now, because we're both kind of here now. Yeah. It's like I can hear you 100%. It's like this is tangible. Like I don't see why not.
It was perfect timing as well, because I was going through not a dark time, but it was like something that I'm big on preaching. If you've been around since the beginning of the DNA podcast, is like getting therapy and your mental health. Mental health is you got to take care of yourself. And I remember kind of like what you were alluding to earlier, like bad breakup, and it wasn't bad like I've had bad breakups, but it was a good breakup to where it's like, well, what the fuck did I do wrong? Like, why didn't it work? Right. And my mom was like, you know, stop thinking about what you did wrong and stop thinking about why it didn't work with this person. Like, why don't you go learn of why things don't work out just for you yourself? Why can't you hold down a job for, you know, longer than 2 years? Why do you always have to, why do you have all these ideas and things that you want to pursue, but you put half effort into it? Like, what, solve that problem. And then maybe all your other issues will get solved too. So I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. Like, might as well. I haven't tried therapy yet. So 2018, I tried therapy and it worked. Like, start just getting that professional help. And then 2018 to pushing to, you know, fuck it. Like, you know what? I found out why I'm holding myself back, let those things go, overcame those. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go full speed. Whatever it is that I want to do, I'm gonna take away that excuse of like I can't do it. I'm just gonna at least try. I'd rather fail with flair than not even try.
Yeah.
Right.
And then leading up to, you OG listeners know, like making a fake resume, applying to be in the fashion industry as like a styling assistant, as an intern, and like getting accepted, and them seeing my Instagram and I'm like modeling my own stuff, and like they like, oh, he has a good style, like can you try out on Wednesday? Driving out to LA, telling them I lived in LA, went to fit them, and all this stuff, bro.
All a
Lying.
lie.
All a
All a
lie.
lie.
Faking until I made it, came up with fake job
Holy shit.
history. And the numbers of the supervisor was like to a girl I was talking to at the time, or to him, and like kind of like stuff like that, just in case they were gonna call. And going out
Thank God they
there,
didn't.
thank God they didn't. And me going out there and just like, I walk in and they know that I'm not who I say I am. Like they know I'm Adam, but they don't like. He obviously doesn't go to fit him. He doesn't look like a kid that would go to fit him, but he can dress nice. And like that day was my tryout, and I did so well. They're like, "What days are you available?" So it's like that fake thing got me in the door, but it was my work ethic, and I'm not gonna take no for an answer. Oh, this is all you need me to do is I need to run a rodeo, make these returns and pickups, and come back in this amount of time. It's like, bro, I work outside.
It also gave you perspective.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, I do have an in. My in is like my hustle, my
That's what they saw
commitment.
more than anything.
Yeah.
I think. They saw that more than anything. Go
Yeah.
on, go on.
And from that, interning for a stylist that she's big in that industry, and like communicating that to like them, and like I'm having to fucking sneak photos of what I'm doing so they could
Yeah.
understand like where I'm actually at. And like I'm getting into places where you need a fucking, how you guys had like the fucking passes, like you need
press,
an
yeah,
actual fucking security clearance to get in. You can't shop here. You can't get into the room where I'm at, because you had to have a background check to be able to get in here. You need to be somebody, or you need to work for that somebody.
Right.
And once I accomplished that, I'm like, well, fuck. And I'm talking with one of the people I was interning with. She was working for this person, but she was also a stylist of her own. And I'm telling her, and I'm like, like, honestly, like I'm driving from Palm Springs, Indio twice a week to be out here. I have 2 jobs. Like I'm trying to make this work. And she's like, I can tell you just need to keep going. You need to make a name for yourself. And like, what do you want to do? I was like, I'm using this as a step to be a creative director. She's like, well, you got to start working towards that. Like, and be on that path. I'm like, okay, well, if I've accomplished this for 4 months going on 5, I could do anything. Like I'm here. I'm already showcased what I can do. And now I need to go back home and make a name for myself. What better place? And this is around the time I was getting into, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the vintage store in LA, Round 2. And I'm watching them and I'm listening to their interviews. And he's like, you need to make a name for yourself in your hometown before you go to a place where they don't know you.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to, they don't know who you are out there. Like they have no reason to even show up to whatever you're doing. Right. But where you have social currency, you need to monetize off of that. You need to be able to build your name up where people know you and catapult yourself up. So I'm like, okay, first big fish, small pond, then big fish and big pond is kind of like my thing of like, okay, like where I need to get to, I need to know who I am, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And is this even what I want to do? Because it's obviously going to be hard. And you're always going to cure obstacles no matter what you do in life. But I'd rather be doing it for something that I want to do. And I hate answering to people. I'm not good with authority because I view myself as a boss. So, like, you're not going to talk to me a certain way. I'm a team player, but you're not going to talk down on me. You're not going to disrespect me. Like, there needs to be a certain level of respect with whatever we're doing. So, as soon as I got that feeling in any situation, I'm like, bro, I don't need to be doing this. This is just a job. At the end of the day, this isn't my livelihood to where we're at now. And the name of Heaven's Demons, like I grew up Catholic, and seeing like I'm always a person that had questions, always questioning. Like I'm not questioning, to be like a dick or anything. I just genuinely want to know. Like I just want to know, like why. I was always the why kid and get in trouble for asking why too many times. You stop asking why, or you stop asking that person why. And to understand, like, I have so much appreciation for the beauty of what religion is, but I also have a different perspective on it too. It's like, there's more to this that we're talking about. We're only talking about certain pieces in here.
Right.
There's more to it. Where there's light, there's dark. Where there's dark, there's light. Where there's good, there's bad. Like
One feeds off the other. You can't have one without the other.
exactly. There's yin and yang, and
Yes.
for me, and exactly like
Yeah.
it's and that was with our first design that's up there. It's like it's constantly it's in a perpetual motion. It's like you rise, you fall. Like, and I lived that throughout my life leading up to that point. It's like, bro, I've been high, I've been low, I've been in the darkest places. I've been, in situations where I'm contemplating if I should even be here, and at the end of the day, you're kind of by yourself, but this is life. And I was like speaking with my uncle about it, and he's like, you know what, take a year to find yourself, and the brand's gonna come to you of what everything needs to, it'll formulate, and it'll all come to you exactly like it needs to. So I did that, and like I modeled like he was saying, and started the podcast, and like I'm just living life, and always had that name Heaven's Demons in the back of my head, because one, it was catchy. Two, I always thought of Hell's Angels. I'm like, what's the opposite of a Hell's Angel? Well, it's a demon from heaven is the opposite of that. And I'm like, you know what? That name's hard. HD, Harley Davidson. I'm like, there's so much things that I could do with this that it
Four
just
letters, four
snowballs.
letters.
Yeah.
Aesthetic.
First of all, it was, the first one was spelled out.
Yeah.
Heavens, fully spelled out, demons. But then with him, and like the pandemic happened, and it's like, I just had my first show at Bart. My only show up to this point, and I'm thinking music's taking off. My boy's like telling me, yeah, like, hey, I'm gonna manage you now. After I begged him for almost a year, he's like, after seeing my first show, and he's like, no, you have potentially, like, we could do something with this. Pandemic, everything stops. It's like, fuck.
Took
All
the
right.
took the air out of it.
Took the air out of everything. It's like, fuck, now what do we do? And it's like, well, fuck, could we start a clothing line? And we had friends like that already had clothing lines, or our boy Fernie was making shirts for his barbershop. And we're like, you know what, let's go to LA and like see the process of how it even works. Like, let's see if we can even do it. And so we drove out there, and at the end of the trip, like him and I talked, and I was like, I think we could do it if we really just put our mind to it. Like, he's like, well, what would the name be? And I'm telling him the name, the whole construction of it, and like what it is. And he's like, let's just fucking do it. Fuck it. Why not?
Yeah, we're on the same trajectory as well. Like, we started the podcast, and Luis has kept insisting, like, we're not a brand, but like, you kind of have to be a brand in order to like be cohesive. Like, you have to have a name, and everything else has come with it, like cool t-shirts, cool hats, like, and we've been collaborating with businesses out here in the desert to make our stuff so that we put them on. Like, our objective isn't for us to grow by ourselves. Like, we want to make everybody bosses. We want to make everybody to be in a position where they can all call their shots. Like you were saying, you were alluding to earlier, I don't want to have somebody tell me what to do. So I don't want these people that are also coming up, like, have a boss either. Like, I want them to be bosses.
Yeah.
And that's why we selectively pick these people that are up and coming, but they have so much potential, and they've been grinding for years, or their idea is really great. So we're like, all right, let's put some gas on this shit and light this bitch up, so that they can blow up, and they can see themselves as who they truly need to be, you know, or what they're envisioning, but also having a community to like back them up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, we kind of select this series as like an umbrella, and we cast a shadow on everybody, but then they realize, like, they also have their own shadow, and then they start building like their nice network.
You're empowering everybody.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's our objective, is like, dog, like the desert is so small that we can all grow and be
Everybody
such a
knows
strong
everybody,
chain, you know, a
Yeah.
strong
We can all
link.
grow and we can all win.
How big this community could be. Like, shout out to Alec. I've known Alec. I met him through a mutual friend that I was working with at one of my jobs, and I met him at his birthday at Moxie's.
Oh,
And it was his, I forgot what birthday it was. It was when he still had short hair. It was like 2015. And I'm like meeting this dude. I'm like, he's a cool dude, you know? And
Right.
realizing so much in common. Like, we don't know anything about the west side of the valley, bro.
Yeah.
We stick to our side. Like, after the river, it's fucking, we know nothing over there.
That's
Nothing,
funny.
bro. It
Might-
stops at the
that's
river.
It might as well be Germany.
Yeah, and on that side, the only thing I knew was the Dollar Theater. Only thing I knew, because that's where we were like
Yeah.
twice a month. The Dollar Theater, watching movies. So, and then seeing Alec and like everything that he did with Itty and like making the custom T-shirts. I was buying one all the time because I'm like, bro, I love to dress. I like not looking like other people. Like I liked looking like a very distinctive, like that's Adam's style, and it always evolves. And with him, it's like, well, what better way than him taking old shirts and customizing them and constantly going and like seeing all this cool stuff that he's doing and just fucking with him and supporting. Like from him just making customs for me and kind of building up his brand, like that was like the beginning stages of the resurgence of Itty. And just like I'm sure for him it was going a long way, and like seeing him do it, I'm like, it's inspiring me, because it's like, well, if my homie that I talk to can do it, in like we're, you know, we think alike, we have the same kind of work ethic, creative in our own right, like I could also do it. And
you know what's beautiful, and I don't want to skip over anybody, but that culture corner you guys have, that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Okay.
The culture corner is what we're Selected Series is. You guys are all bosses in your own lane, and you guys hype each other up. You guys give each other ideas. Like I've never been there, and this kind of like my first taste of like members of the culture corner, which is kind of cool. But yeah, like that's what everybody needs is it's that culture corner where you guys kind of like sit there and brew on these dope ass ideas and like feed off each other's energies. Like that's I don't know, I think we need that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like which is a hard thing to do, especially like we've talked about it before, amongst men, especially our age and our culture and everything. It's hard to curate a culture like that.
Yeah.
Because it's good to have people that are positive, but you also don't want yes men. And hopefully you guys do come around to Everbloom when we're all there.
when it's not 118.
Yeah, when it's not
outside.
18. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Everbloom, that we're not there all the time. But there's no yes men. Like you're gonna talk about these things, but they're gonna come at you with different perspectives and different things, which I personally like, because it's like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense, or I've never thought of it that way.
of that. And if it wasn't for that culture corner, like the brand wouldn't be what it is, the podcast wouldn't be what it is.
No.
Like rest in peace to Nick. He's the reason why our website's on Wix.
Yeah.
Because we were gonna do it through
Shopify.
And he's like, why don't you try Wix? It's free. They take a lower percentage, and you know, type of thing. And we're like, fuck it, yeah. And this was the week of our drop.
No, it was the day before.
Oh, it was the day before.
It was the day before. And
Yeah,
I
the
made
day
it.
before
I
our
made
drop.
it in a day.
Yeah, like we left the CC.
fucking
We left the CC. He went straight home to update everything. This was before we had this. Like I think we're almost closing the deal on the lease here for this spot. So
Yeah.
he was still out of his office at home doing everything. So with that, and then you know, with the DNA podcast, and like we're trying to think of names, like of what to transition into from DNA to here
For the rebrand, yeah.
for the rebrand. And Alec was just like, why don't you just call it the Heavens Demons podcast? Like you guys already have the brand. And we're like,
Ooh.
Makes sense.
why not?
Hey, let me ask you, can you name drop all the people that are part of the culture corner? Because you guys have a bunch of dope ass people in
It's
that.
like basically now it's like the Wu-Tang Clan, bro. We got so many members. Like
It's hard to keep up.
it's
hard.
so we got
Alec?
Everbloom.
Yeah.
We have Everbloom that is the culture corner,
Yeah.
and those are our seats next to the window.
Don't ever get that twisted.
Don't ever get that twisted. It's unspoken, but that's our corner right there. And then you have Alec with Itty. Rest in peace to Nick, who was a part of it as
Yeah.
well. You have Poncho.
Off the racks.
You have
Can you elaborate on all these businesses? Because it's kind of cool. Because there's a bunch of people that listen to our podcast that will probably listen to all this stuff, and I'd love for them to get their shine. Like, you have Poncho. Like, what does Poncho do?
Poncho's
give him his flowers, bro.
Yeah. Poncho, greatest guy. Like
Nicest guy you ever meet.
Nicest guy you ever meet. I still don't know what I did to deserve him as a friend, but
doesn't make
he's
sense.
smart, creative. He gives back to the community. All of us in this CC, at the end of the day, we love our community and where we're from. We're very proud to be where we're from, and he's one of those guys that he loves to be from Indio. His family owns a Bob's Twin Kitchen that's a staple in Indio, in North Indio for decades,
Years.
since my parents were kids. And he does Off the Racks, where he raffles off hard to get streetwear from Supreme, FTP, all these other brands that you see but you can't ever get because there's bots out there and stuff like that. What he does is he raffles it off, and he's not in it to make a profit. He's in it to help everybody. Like, I know you guys are trying to get this, and you kind of need to know people to be able to get these items, but I'm gonna give everybody a fair shot to try to get this
through raffling because
Through raffling.
because you couldn't that getting those pieces are almost impossible. And now knowing that I have a chance at maybe like if he says, oh, it's $10 a slot. Well, if I buy 2 slots, that's $20. I have a chance to maybe win this for something that costs $400. Like he made it in a way, and he made it in such a fun way that he kind of introduced it to me, and I was like, oh wow, like this is even just being in the raffle sometimes and not even buying into it, it's so fun.
It's fun to
chat.
watch.
It's so fun to watch.
The chat that's in there, I like to go in there. I don't have a fucking slot, but like I'm in there just talking shit,
Wreaking havoc.
And watching
Yeah.
the comments.
You're watching the comments. It's like, bro, like we're gonna make this fun. Like however many people are in here, if you're just in here for the raffle, I'm gonna be in here. I'm gonna be making fun of Poncho. I'm gonna be talking to Dweeb, or I'm gonna be talking to Daniel or EJ. So that's Poncho, what he does as far as that, and he's also a scholar in his own right.
Shout out Harvard.
Shout out Harvard. And then you have after him, you have Daniel, which he owns Canvas Nonfiction. He was a guest a couple weeks ago. And he's the encourager, as we call him now.
The OG.
And
The
the
OG.
OG, the
seed
guy
planner.
the seed planner, the guy that he's connected to everybody, and he does his own brands, and now he's starting up or expanding his screen printing company with Matt's also a part of the CC as well.
Yeah.
He owns
Papa Heads.
Rogue and Papa Heads. Papa Heads is a French fry company out here. They homemade French fries, and
Like specialty type of orders of French fries that you probably won't find elsewhere.
you're not gonna find it. Like they'll put fucking shrimp on it with like some special
How late are
sauce.
they open?
Huh?
How late are they open?
Oh,
They're closed right now,
closed.
but during the day, like I think 11 a.m. to about 5
Yeah.
during the week,
Fire.
and I think till 6 o'clock on Saturdays. But fucking best fries.
Then you got Fernie.
Then you have Fernie with Renaissance Barbershop with DDE. With he has his own clothing line coming out soon, and we're all jackasses. We all like to joke around, but he's like his own special. Like you can't be serious around him at all.
He's a special type of character.
Yeah,
I'll put it to you
special
that way.
type of character, and like you need a Fernie in your group, and you probably have one, and
He's 100% him 100% of the
yeah,
time.
yeah, which is
You're never gonna get anything but him, which I could appreciate.
I can appreciate that. Never always consistent, but also if he fucks with you, he fucks with you. He's always gonna be there. He's always gonna hype you up. He's always going to support whatever you're dropping. And that dude, I met him 2009. I was gonna say 2010. 2009. He cut my hair for the first time. It was the first barber to find my lineup. And for guys, bro,
always
you
remember
don't
your first.
cheat on your barber.
You always remember your first.
You always, and I'm like, wait, you found my lineup? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere else. And since then till now, he's always cut my hair. I only let other people cut my hair with his approval because he wasn't able to cut my hair, and I don't like my hair. Like I'm very I love my look. Like I get it every 2 weeks. There was a point I was every other week, or every week, and yeah. So
That's for
That's
Nate.
me, dude.
Yeah.
That's me with his brother. He
Oh,
cuts
yeah?
all of our hairs. Yeah. Like, keep going. Sorry.
no. Yeah, you need that. You need
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
You need that barber. That and
And
slowly.
sometimes you need consistency in your
Yeah,
life, you know?
you need consistency. Like I know when I go to
It's a
Fernie, I know
therapy session.
exactly
Oh, yeah.
what I'm getting. I'm getting the good haircut. I'm getting quality laughter.
Good times.
Yes.
Good times.
Yes.
Every time I get a haircut from him. That's why I haven't gone anywhere else without his consent.
It's a therapy session.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Because you're like going in there, and this guy's like your preacher, or not your preacher, but that box you go into, and
Yeah.
you
The
like
confessional
your
type of
confessions.
thing,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And I'm sure he,
Yeah, all
'cause
of
my,
us, I feel.
And he'll sing it with you. He'll sing confessions with you.
Yeah. my brother will set the mood. Like he'll like
Light a
there's
candle?
a Circle K down the
Say.
street. Yeah, he'll light a candle, bro. He makes candles. So shout out to my
Oh,
brother.
shit. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I didn't know that at all.
He makes
Yeah,
he's
it's fire.
he's got this the Certica brand, and
It's dope.
we got a Circle K down the street. So like he sets up like, hey yo, bro, like if I give you money, go run over and bring some beer, some tall cans, and we set the mood, and
usually
like
just smoke.
everybody has a great time, you know.
Yeah. Bernie's the same way. Like he'll text me. He's like, "Hey, are you gonna be at Everbloom anytime before the haircut?" And I'm like, "I can stop by there." He's like, "If you can, I'll zell you." Fernie, love him to death.
Shout out Fernie.
Solid guy. And then you have Damien, which when you guys were speaking about what is his name? The other guy that was a part of Selected Series started with an R. Ryan.
Ricky.
Ricky.
Rick, yeah.
That's our Ricky is Damien. Like
Yeah.
we were just at his son and daughter's birthday party, and he has 2 kids, fiance, and he was the first person that did photos of me, and he's a photographer and he still does stuff, and he has his own clothing line, Artistic Hype, that he started up, and fire designs coming out.
Yeah.
And he's
It's
that
kind of
guy.
like it's like a vintage type of like, not band tees, but what would you call them?
I don't like kind of like those memorabilia type of
memorabilia type of-
montage tees. Like he did the
Yeah.
Bad Bunny and Bo Jackson one, and
Oh,
he's got some
okay.
other stuff coming out.
What?
Yeah, I bought
Yeah.
one for my sister.
Sick.
That's dope.
Bad Bunny.
And he's the dad. I call him the dad of the group, bro, because he's 100% the dad. He's paid for. We rented out, auditoriums at the AMC, and he's paid for it, like for our birthdays and stuff, like, and always hyping us up. Always another big supporter of us, like everything that we do. I send him, before our rollouts happen, I send him like concepts and like designs I got coming. I got designs done until fucking December, and I send him like, this is what I'm gonna be doing. So, and he's that guy, like, he has kids, he's a father, like he can't always be there, but I make sure to, like, we
Include
both
him in
do
there.
include
Yeah,
him in
yeah.
everything that we do, because he's such a big supporter, and like he's not as here as often as he would like to be, and I'm glad like he's being a dad, because we know people that aren't.
Thank you.
Yeah, like we
Do
know
your
people
job.
and he's a great father. Like I hope to be a dad like him when I have kids.
Yeah.
Like he's so involved and with everything
Such
that
a
he
good
does.
dad. He was here when we were like doing the floors and stuff. He brought his daughter. He pushed her to the ground when they're racing.
Yeah.
He's such a good dad.
They're super playful.
Super playful.
Super playful.
Didn't let her win. Teaching her about life. I respect it.
Yeah, bro. Hey, adversity. You gotta learn it from your family.
Yeah.
So that's Damien. And then who else is after that?
I think.
Bro, they keep putting us on the spot.
It's
EJ
our
with
host
Everbloom.
coming out.
EJ and Matt with Everbloom,
Matt,
of course.
yeah.
Like EJ's another one. Like he's the reason we have this office, because I saw them go from a cart to a location, seen them do it. It's like, well, if you see your homies do it, you can do it.
Yes.
And we come of the same belief as you guys of like everybody needs to be bosses. Like I'm of the belief like, if you're rich and your friends are broke, then you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
able to put
Rich.
your friends in
Most
places
definitely.
to succeed. Like, and if you got 9 broke homies, you're the 10th one type of thing. Like
Yeah.
you need to be able to make everybody needs to get money.
How can you look good and all your homies are looking like shit?
Yeah.
Like that's fucked up. Like
It's-
why are you letting them do that? I mean, obviously everybody has to like have accountability for themselves, but if they're your friends, you have a certain standard or value. They should all be rocking
And you owe
rolling.
it to them.
Yeah,
you owe it
for
to them
sure.
and to yourself.
Like there's this like I don't know who was talking about it, but like if you have a t-shirt brand, like everybody should have a shirt, like a fresh tee. If you have a restaurant, like everybody should eat when they come into your spot. If just like that, like everything, like if you cut hair, like all your homies should look fresh. If whatever,
Yeah.
It,
Support.
that's just the vibe that you should have around all your people.
Yeah, and within us, like in our ecosystem, like we give that constructive criticism in a good way.
Yeah.
To where you're not attacking the other person and like improving on designs, or like the reason we have the buffalo skull on the hat. I was gonna put this pony on there, and Alec was like, why don't you put the skull on there? And like, or with Damien and like certain suggestions on the brand, and vice versa, like
Yeah.
he'll message and like honest critiques. What about this font? What should I do with this? Is this image good?
And vice versa, like they'll come with us, and I know Damien's done it a few times. They're like, okay, what do you think about this design, or maybe placing it here in this color wave, or the blank, and just things like that. Everybody's so knowledgeable, and we've all kind of, not saying been there, done that, but we've all kind of experimented one way or another to where we can give honest critique and honest advice.
We created a safe space, and like where you can put in your input, and we know you were not coming from a bad place. And
I was talking to Marcel, and he was telling me like, yo, these cats in Indio, they're killing it. He was like, I wish we had the same environment out here in Palm Springs, but it's gonna take some time, and I think we're kind of cultivating that, because it's kind of hard to come out here, but we can create that over there and continue to like mesh with
which you guys are.
Yeah.
You guys are.
Yeah.
with the stuff that you guys are putting together, with us, bro, like it's just as hard as a battle on this side. But what it is surrounding yourself with like-minded people with the same objective as you, that see the same vision as you. It seems hard, but it's only hard when not everybody's pulling their own weight, or we're not thinking the same. We're not aligned. We're not on the same frequency here. But like-minded people always find themselves. and you're bound to, like, if you're doing what you genuinely want to do. I'm a strong believer in the universe, alchemy, all that stuff. Like, the universe is gonna will its way to help you get where you need to get to. And so far, like, since what I was saying earlier, like, that path is put all these people in my life. For that show at Bart, everybody was in the same spot at once and didn't know it.
And we didn't even really know each other.
Yeah.
Like that was the night that Damien and Fernie met each other.
Yeah,
I remember.
Damien and Fernie met each other. I knew everybody there except EJ, and I knew Alec, I knew Nick, I knew Damien, Fernie, my boy Manny. I knew everybody that was there that night, but they didn't know each other.
Yeah.
And then
dope.
and then to look back like a year later, and I remember putting in the group chat, like, a year later we were all in the same building.
That's so crazy.
And we didn't, like, you guys didn't know it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it happens that fast. I think maybe the pandemic expedited it a bit, but, like, we created an environment, like, we're pulling up with lawn chairs. I remember asking EJ, like, is it cool if I just pull up a lawn chair, bro,
Yeah.
like, and kick it? Like, I know you got nowhere to sit, and we really can't be doing it, but is it cool? Like, it's your own spot now. You're not at that other spot anymore, which we're not going to name.
They
But
shall now be named.
yeah. And he's like, fuck it. I guess you can. It's kind of hot though. I'm like, fuck it, bro. Like, I was kicking it with you guys over there. Now it's your own spot. I'm not gonna get hounded over here. Like, fuck it. Pull up. Told Arturo, like, hey, bro, I'm gonna bring a lawn chair. We'll just kick it over here, have coffee, chill. And this is, you just started getting into coffee. Like,
They're the first coffee I ever drank.
Mhm.
The first
Oh,
coffee I ever
shit.
drank. Because I never really, not that I didn't need it, but I was just like, I don't need it. I'll just drink water or something. Like, I'll be fine. But then he
He's
had
a raw dog in life.
I was
bro.
just raw dog in life. That's how I go through life. And this dude had an extra coffee one time, and I think we're going to the mall.
Yeah, we're going to the
And
mall.
he's all, hey, dude, like, I got an extra coffee. I know you don't drink it, but do you want to try it? And I was like,
Change your life.
fucking A, dude. Why not? Go
Fucking
ahead.
Butterscotch changed his life.
Butterscotch changed my life. Obviously,
Dang.
I'm an Americano type of guy now. So clearly I've leveled
fucking
up.
matured.
Leveled up.
Clearly.
Americano and oat.
Yeah, I'm an animal now. But I
One
started
day he'll get to cold brew. One day.
one day when
get you
I
there.
yeah, or maybe not. It's okay.
Nitro
It's okay if I
cold
don't get there. But he introduced coffee to me, and I was like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'll go with you to go get coffee now. And then I met EJ and I met Matt, and just like how he was talking to him, I was talking to him. Like, we're all pretty, even though Matt was from the West Side, I was like, he's a really relatable guy, and I never really experienced that with somebody from the West Side. And I just started coming around more, and then when they got their own spot, we're like, fuck, I mean, I don't have a lawn chair. So I literally fucking bought a lawn chair, and I was like, fucking, hey, we're going to be those guys, but
I was
don't
bringing
care.
an extra chair in my car. Like, I
Yeah.
just I back in to Everbloom, open the trunk, pull out my lawn chair, pull out an extra lawn chair for Arturo, and, like, we'll kick it. Alec and Nick would show up,
Yeah.
and we're just talking, going back and forth, spitballing ideas, concept stuff, just talking about business, life, like, you know, LLCs and all that, and, like, that kind of formed itself to what this is now. The Heavens Demons podcast is like that same platform of bringing other creatives and kind of talking about them, giving them their flowers, and, like, also giving them a platform to, you know, level up at the same
Yeah.
time. Like,
Exactly. Hold them accountable.
not everybody knows everybody. I mean, we do know of people, but we don't know exactly what you're doing and or what you've done. Like, to hear off camera before we started recording, like, the shit you did DJing and going
Right.
on tour and shit. It's like, bro,
Right.
I would never known that
Yeah.
shit.
Right,
Like,
right.
the only time I heard this is right now. Like,
Right.
and giving that platform of, like, bro, we've accomplished so much, but it kind of goes back to, like, that old mentality of, like, I'll just keep to myself. I just keep grinding, keep putting the work in,
Right.
and eventually people are gonna know what I'm doing.
Right.
But, like, are you socializing with people? Are you
Yeah.
putting yourself out there
Right.
to be vulnerable? Are you even making it comfortable for people to even ask you? Like,
I was say, can you announce the days that you are at your residency?
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
there's, I mean, you got one that I'm
you guys gotta
super
go.
jacked
Yeah.
about.
Bro,
Super
I was
jacked.
transitioning to that. You
Wednesdays
saw
at
it.
Moxie, Thursdays at Casino, Agua Caliente Casino in Cathedral City, Fridays at Antigua, and then every other Saturday at Bart. So
Every other Saturday bar. Okay.
Every other
you
Saturday
guys
at Bart.
should come out
And
to the
then
Perreos on Wednesday.
you said at Moxie's Wednesdays, that's Latin night?
That's
Latin
Latin
night.
night.
Crazy,
Puro
we're Latin.
reggaeton y perreo. Single ladies, holla at the boys.
Or a single man too, you know, we could all do the same dances. It's all good. It's all good.
We're just trying to pack
fuck
that,
it,
we're just
let's
trying to
do
pack that
it.
shit out.
bro.
Bro, I got a question. This is a genuine question. You're
Yeah.
a DJ. You're accomplished, and, you know, you're still going, and you have, you know, bigger sites. Why is Latin night always in the middle of the fucking week? Like,
Hey,
I
you
want
know-
to. When I listen to reggaeton, bro, I want to drink my drink. I want to get fucked up. I want to dance. But I don't want to have to suffer through work the next day. Why is it always a Wednesday
You
or
know
Thursday?
what? You know why it is that? It's because clubs don't give I feel like clubs are scared to have a Latin night on like a weekend because
They can't handle it.
they can't handle it. One,
God, that'd be a
They can't handle the fucking Latin heat.
No, bro. You know what?
and two, like
What?
it could be a hit or miss because it honestly, bro, it depends on the DJ really. Because if bro, you could, I know plenty of Latin nights, and I don't want to talk bad on anybody, but I know plenty of Latin nights, either whether it be out here or out in the IE, that I've gone to on the weekend. But because the DJ's so bad, bro, I mean, they're still playing Pitbull from like 2000 literally
shit's
2005 or something, you know. And yes, you could play that kind of stuff, but you got to be able to be like fresh with it, bro, and like
play
be.
stuff we know.
I'm 32, but I know what the kids are playing, dude. I told the boys, I told David, I said, look, bro, TikTok is gonna fucking dictate like music, bro. I called that shit, and I'm not fucking on TikTok like making fucking stupid dances, but I'm on there
Could be.
like listening to what the
you're not.
kids are listening to. It comes with like the whole like what a DJ is a crate digger, you know, like if I'm not going through the vinyls, I'm going through like the digital stuff, and that's why I'm so open to like how I told you guys off camera, like if you have ideas about shit, tell me. I want to know that shit because it's only gonna like expand my music library in there. And going back to it, what I was saying is the reason why they're in the middle of the week is because the DJs that are given the chance to do that shit during the weekend, it's either they make it pop or they make it don't. But you know what, bro? I got that shit cracking on a fucking Wednesday night. So I'm excited, and I know eventually that shit could go to the weekend, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it be at Moxie or somewhere else. Moxie's my baby, like there, my Latin night, and I super love doing it on Wednesday.
there a dress code?
But there isn't a
There
dress
should be.
code.
Just no hats.
Just
no
no,
hats?
yeah, it's like
How low can I wear my button up? Can I go 6 buttons down?
I think so, bro.
What's
no buttons?
What's the amount of chains I could wear?
Unlimited, bro.
So I'm gonna look like a Dominican baseball player. Y'all better just
Hey, bro,
let
I
me
had
ride.
a group. Hey, bro, you wouldn't even imagine the people. I had this
imagine.
like Dominican group of people. They came up to me, and I was like, I
Beijing in
told
the
myself
beard.
like, why did I say that? They came up to me, and they're like, hey, I got a request, and I was like, dude, I can't play any hip hop. Racist. Fucking racist. Why would I say that? Right? And he was like, no, bro, I'm Dominican. I'm Dominican.
Can't you tell from my tight clothes?
And I was like, dude, I was like, wow, I totally just judged a book by its cover. And bro, they were dancing all fucking night. They were literally in front of the DJ booth dancing all night,
Listen
bro.
to 24/7.
Bro, I was like, but they were no homo, but homo because it's still Pride Month.
Yeah.
They were fucking just sexy all fucking night, dude. Them and their girls, bro. I was like,
You're over there watching them with their fucking hookups, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, so who's the real one over here?
He's all trying to get in on it. He's like, oh, shit.
It's all pre-mixed anyway.
It was dope though. It was like a never judge a book by its cover moment.
How
of
many
like,
whistles am I gonna hear, bro? Because I was listening to Rosarito the other weekend, bro.
And
And I heard,
boy,
every drop I heard whistles. Every time I heard a whistle, I knew somebody was taking a shot.
No,
Latin is
I
Latin?
do my disco, my infamous like the disco. That's what like they're known for, and I do like my
It's you
like
doing
a
the
certain
drop
air horn. No, it's like some British girl like the disco, but it's I do it so much to instill that in your head
Why
that
don't you have a
now
Latina do
everybody. The what?
You have a Latina do it.
you should get a Latina to do that.
I should probably, you know what?
At least for
I
Latin
At least for
night.
Latin night.
Yeah, I should. I should have like I don't know, my girlfriend do it or something. I don't know, do a sexy like disco or some shit.
Disco.
Or maybe I could just have David
She's
do
all
it.
daddy disco.
It's actually
She's all
I have a
papi
group of
disco.
lesbian homegirls.
Ay, papi disco.
It's funny you say that because I got a home group of like lesbian homegirls. Like my sister's gay and she has like all her best friends and all that, and that's what they literally call me in the group chat. They call me Daddy Disco, which is so
Yeah.
funny.
Bro, your drop is staring in front of you the whole time. Have your girl do it.
But yeah, man, Latin night, you guys gotta
Yeah.
come out. Everybody
Moxie's,
gotta come out.
show up.
All the people from the East End gotta come out.
Bro,
definitely.
and like it's cool that you're open-minded to like other suggestions. Like Arturo's the reggaeton archivist amongst our friend group, but even I put him
Yo.
onto like to Rao
Yeah,
last week.
Oh,
like
yeah.
like it's
Fire.
the newer stuff.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
I put him on
Album is good.
to
Fire.
Rao,
Yeah.
to Sech.
Yes,
and
bro.
to Sech, bro, we were taking.
Sech
It was
is
the week
fire.
leading up to Rosarito, and he's like, "I know exactly what we're listening to when we're over there." He's like, "I've never heard this before." Bro, I showed him one song, and he's just like, yeah, this is good. This is
My eyes
this
lit
is
up when
great.
you
So
said
and
that.
like, and I feel now that everything it's a culmination of just a beautiful mix of everything's opening back up.
Yes.
Latinos are popping off right now
Right.
with music and in culture and everything.
Fashion, yes.
Fashion, and if you have a good DJ, which I heard you at BAM Camp.
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
this guy knows how to
Yeah.
DJ.
Oh, okay,
I didn't know
okay,
that you
okay.
were selected series.
Oh, okay.
But I was
okay.
like, oh, he knows how
Yeah,
to
we're
mix. He
talking
knows
about
exactly
it.
what he's
Oh,
doing. Like
okay.
he knows music.
I was
like,
just fucking around there.
yeah,
but
I assume. I'm like, if he can do this, he can do Latin. I'm like,
Right.
obviously this guy's.
If he can
has
do
potential.
agua caliente, he can do
Oh,
anywhere,
bruh.
bro.
Yeah.
Like the restrictions at a corporation is
Yeah.
is very very tight,
Yeah.
and this guy knows how to rock the mic, you know,
Thank
or
you.
rock.
the crowd.
Yo, where can we hear your mixes? You
On
let
Yeah, it's a
the
great
audience know?
SoundCloud.com /
can you plug
disco
your-
music.
Can you plug your IG?
And my IG is DXSKO. And then our selected series is selected dot series. Right?
Why are you using your
Yeah,
sexy
selected
voice?
a-
Like fucking speak up, bro.
Is my reason?
That's his DJ voice. What he's like,
DJ voice.
he's like,
We're
he's
now
like,
back
hey,
at
I
the jack
always
off
talk
hour.
like this. What do you mean?
SoundCloud.
What do you mean?
Headphone.
He's all like this.
Yeah, he's
So
got
what do
he's
you
got
mean?
a
Ask me on
range of
SoundCloud.
Yeah.
of
Of mixes and
of
shit.
mixes.
Name
From
them
like
out.
jazz,
Genres.
bro,
There you
from
go.
jazz
Jazz
to
boys.
Go out your resume,
reggaeton to everything, dude. I listen to everything, so I try to like put that on my SoundCloud and like that Hermano Flower Shop performance. Like I try to kind of show my range. Like I don't. Yes, I
Stay
could play
tuned.
Latin music. Yes, I could do a hip hop like show, and but there's so much other layers of music that I genuinely love. You know. That is not necessarily that. Dude, I love fucking jazz. I love salsa. I'm half Colombian, you know? So I love salsa. I love all that shit. I love Latin, like, not like reggaeton Latin, but like real Latin music, you know? I love Brazilian shit. I love, you know. So I just like to show that in my mixes because I think DJs don't do that shit enough where they showcase like their true likes. It's like either you're like
trying to
a super
appease
EDM
everybody.
DJ
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a super hip hop DJ, which is all that shit is dope. All that shit is dope, but I don't think enough DJs really showcase like their artistic side, bro. And it's just like hanging out with these fools, and our other homie Ricky and his brother Nano, like those four guys, like always kind of push my limits,
Yeah.
and as far as like when it comes to music, and it's honestly helped me grow. Like yeah, I've done a lot of shit before like I came back out here, but coming out here I feel like I blossom even more. Like I've solidified who I am like as an artist and as a DJ, you know, and like
And as
I
a
credit
man,
these
too,
motherfuckers. Yeah.
And
Yeah. True.
Ser-
It's true.
seriously.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel like all of us for sure have
Tell him about now.
grown. Oh, I took him to Nam. Well, not
guys
like
know what
Vietnam.
Nam is?
Not Vietnam.
not to get coffee. Not to get
Vietnam.
coffee.
So I'm sponsored by like a cable company called Curlin. Shout out Curlin Cable. They've been giving me the chance to go to this big convention in Anaheim. It's called NAM, and it's basically all the biggest music, like equipment, sound, lighting, all the biggest people. They fill up the fucking convention center, and I was blessed enough to bring David the last year before COVID hit. Honestly, I think we got COVID there, but we're not gonna
I
talk
think
about
so.
It was a
that.
super spreader event. Huh?
No, yeah,
Oh,
because
goddamn.
like you had people from China bringing just
Yeah.
these Chinese companies don't speak a lick of English. These people are coming probably
Yes,
from
bro.
Wuhan or
And it's
something.
filled,
Eh,
bro.
Yeah, bro. And so you're walking
Filled.
down these aisles and they're trying to speak to you.
I
And
was
you're
so
like, I don't
sick
even
that
speak
day.
Chinese. But
Bender.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know, and yeah, we just got roasted. Anyways, but aside from that,
Yeah, we got sick like 2 weeks after that.
we got
like,
fucking sick,
Real,
man.
real sick. So maybe that was it.
So we got to come out and like I had exposed him to the DJ scene, but not really so much. But bro, all the best DJs go. They're all experimenting on like the new shit. But there's also like kind of shows. So the DJ center is like the place to be. Rain, Pioneer, all that shit. So he got to see the best motherfuckers do the best shit like right in front of his face, and he fell in love with the DJ culture, you know. But because of that, now this motherfucker holds me accountable because he's like, I see what they could do, and I know what you could do. So now he'll literally, bro, push me to do. I'll be like in the room, like he came out went over one time, bro. I was frustrated with the mix, and I was like, "Fuck!" This fool was just like pushing ideas on me, and I was like, "I can't do that shit. I can't, bro. I can't." We started talking about something else an hour later, and then before he left, I was like, "You know what, dude? I think I'm gonna do that one thing that you were saying to do.
I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna try it out.
I hate when people say I can't because
Right.
you're not, you haven't even tried.
He's all
Right,
plugging
right.
shoes. I'm just a fucking failure.
No, but I mean, you know, as an artist, bro,
Yeah.
it's like sometimes like you box yourself in because of the same thing, because of the ticophobia, the fear of failure, you know. So sometimes I know what I could do, but you do need like a team of fucking people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here by myself, dude. It's the people that have been believing in me and like pushing those limits, you know. And I think that for anybody, you know, you really need that team, you know, of like how you guys said,
Or
your
the
CC.
fear of going into the unknown, like, oh, like, damn, I'm in uncharted waters, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, like, get in there, swim in the deep, homie. Like, be a shark, you know? Like, don't be a small little fish being scared of everything. Like, fucking eat everything that comes your way. Because life is really about, like, fucking pretending you play a role. Like, you see these movies and shit, like, I could do that in real life. Just pretend like blah, 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 and just walk that way, you know? And so I always tell Renee, like, have that fucking confidence that, you know, there's nothing that you can't do. And then you start breaking down these walls that you fucking build yourself because you're scared of maybe being successful and and blowing the fuck up and just being that dope DJ that this fucker saw at NAMM, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm like right now. I said it recently. Like I posted like on my story. Like, I'm literally living off DJing now. You know, I worked in schools for 12 years. Pandemic, we lost our job, bro. And I didn't think a year ago now I wouldn't have been like, yeah, I'm gonna be living off this shit. I'm literally living off this shit. And like, it's one of those things. Noah said something the other day. He was like, motherfuckers are scared to like get thrown in the pool, but then they don't understand, like, sometimes when you get thrown, it's like, oh shit, this shit is easier than I fucking thought to swim, you know? It's like, you think that swim is going to be way harder than it was, but it's not, you know? And you guys, I'm sure you guys attest having your own spot, you know? Like,
yeah, this is
dude,
beautiful.
this is dope. This is something that we've
Thank
wanted, you know? Like,
so you guys planted the seed. We've been looking like a spot like in between the deserts so that we can congregate. Bro, I have mad ideas.
Yes.
So like, thank you for
this
this.
is definitely
'cause
inspiring.
We probably have our own space, maybe.
Hey, bro, if we can do
sometime
it,
next
like,
year.
I give ourselves a lot of credit. If we can do it, I firmly believe, like, anybody can do it. As long as you believe and you're able, like, I think the best ability to have is adaptability. If you're able to be able to work on your feet, like, we got this spot and we renovated in 3 days. Yeah, like, and
That's
it was,
dope.
I told myself I was gonna
So
get
you
my
guys
money's worth.
laid all this?
all
everything.
this, everything in here we did
Wow,
ourselves,
bro.
like, and if we can do it, bro, and we're just, like I always say, bro, we're just a couple of jackasses just trying to figure it out.
Blind confidence.
Blind
bro.
confidence, like, believe in ourselves. Like, I know if I throw out an idea and I'm waiting for him to say no, if he doesn't say no, I'm like, okay, we're gonna get it done. I don't know how, like, we have stuff that's in the works, like, that we only told like maybe a couple people about, and we're like, well, fuck, we're gonna figure it out one way or another. Every drop, it gets easier, but at the same time, it's like, you know, we're gonna do it.
You know, the dopest thing is, like, you don't have to pull the trigger on every idea. You got folders up there. You can shelf that shit. You can just put it away and come back to it later. Like, that's what you do when you save files in a computer. Like, you can literally put away golden ideas and come back and they'll still be golden. If they're still good 24 hours later, like, you can use them anytime because
it comes back up in
they're gonna be
conversation.
timeless. Yeah.
It comes back, and like I told him, like, you know, I spent years afraid. How you were talking about, like, the fear of
Fear of
failure.
failure,
Like, I spent
ticophobia,
years not doing anything. Like, at least try. Like,
Right.
that's I'm tired of. I stopped telling people my ideas and I just started doing it because you get paralysis by analysis, bro. Like, I tweeted this other day. It's like, you hesitate, and before you know it, someone else is living your dream because they took that risk. You have to take that risk. You don't know, like how your boy was saying, like, jump in the water, bro. It's not as bad as you think.
Right.
And I remember telling him, because I'm very creative and, like, I think very highly of myself. And, like, I'll say, like, I remember we're at Coachella and I'm like, hey, one day I'll be on that stage. And, like, to him it was kind of hard to see. Like, I have showed no proof of concept. I haven't put out any music. I haven't performed, sang in front of him, nothing. And
Mind
then,
you, I know he can write, and I know he's creative. I was like, all right, like it was one of those things. It's
Right.
like I want him to see me being skeptical
Yeah.
as a way to kind of light a flame.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
all right. That's one of
Right.
those things. Like,
Right,
okay, we'll
right.
see.
Yeah. And then later on, and like seeing, put on music, and then we went to Rolling Loud because this is after he kind of already heard my music. I already finished a project, and I was putting out a project in January. Rolling Loud LA was in December, and we went, and I told him, I like kept looking at him, and he's like, and I'm like looking up on stage, and he's like, "What are you thinking?" We're on shrooms again, so he knows I'm thinking.
Hey, naturally.
And he's like, what are you thinking? I'm like, that I can do that. Like,
Right.
what they're doing is not that. I'm not wowed.
Right.
It's not like I'm seeing certain artists. I'm like, well, bro, you're not doing anything super special.
No,
Like,
you're not far away from that.
You're not far away. Like, hey, bro, if you're just up there reciting your lyrics and letting us sing most of it, like, well, fuck, I could do that, bro. Put me in a designer shirt and call it a day. Like, let's just, if that's what it takes. But what I see of myself is way bigger than that. So it's like, well, if this is what gets you here and you're doing this, then I can do that, bro. And then like when I had my show, that kind of sealed the deal on everything he kind of needed to see. And he's like, no, you can do it. Like,
100%.
we're gonna run it as soon as you get. All you need is an opportunity. All you need is that. And like same thing with him and like with his photography. And I'm telling him like, hey, bro, you said you want to be a photographer. Like, shoot, do it. Like, you're gonna shoot our products. You're gonna shoot our models. Like, you're gonna take photos of me, bro. You say you want to be a photographer, I'll be your model, bro. You
Yeah.
can't.
Right.
There goes your excuse of not having a model. I know how to model. Let's just go do it. Let's just go shoot. And we did that. And it's kind of like holding each other accountable. Like, the wrong thing to do around us, like in our group, is say an idea.
Yeah.
That's the wrong thing to do. If you really don't want to do it, you're gonna know in that conversation if you really want to do it or not.
Do it.
Because we're gonna give you solutions. Like if you say you want to start a clone, like, oh, hey, bro, like I'll send you a link for this website where we got wholesale T-shirts. They have it at this price, super accessible. Like Daniel could go ahead and screen print for you. Like, do you have a logo in mind? Like, and for a lot of people, you get overwhelmed because you're
Right.
not used to having those resources readily available and people that want to help.
Yeah. And then you realize sometimes, okay, maybe that's
Right.
not what I want to do. Now that I know all this, it's like,
Yeah.
maybe not. But I could maybe do this. It's like, okay, now sometimes the best things is what you probably shouldn't be doing now. That goes probably a longer way at times.
Yeah. Know what you can't do. And I remember having conversations because I was a bartender for a couple years, and this guy had multiple restaurants in Utah, and I'm like, well, what are you doing here? He's like, I put people in place that are good at their job, and they're running it, and I don't need to make all the profit. I'll empower them. You empower them, you give them, you pay them what they ask for, and they'll work their ass off for you.
Yeah.
And they'll make you this passive income. And it's like, bro, if I don't know how to fucking embroider. I don't have an embroidery machine, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the best person to embroider, and they're gonna do it. I remember,
sir.
it's like, put those people in position, bro. Know what you can't do. That's your biggest strength, is knowing what you
Right.
can't do.
That's what we've been doing with this project that we're working on. Is like just DMing people and just saying like, hey, there's this opportunity. You do this, do it, and you'll be in a spotlight where other people can see you. You'll make money. Like, I don't wanna have something where you can make profit. Like, come and do it yourself so that you get more and more. So you put people on. Like, I'm not gonna go and learn photography. Like, I'm gonna go get somebody that can take some dope ass photos, and then put them on the podcast, or put them on a pedestal for them to like shine. That's the objective, is to be like, everybody wins. Like, I don't want the whole fucking cake for myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even want the cake. I just want to put like the dopest shit is just to see somebody smile because there's a bunch of people looking at what they did.
It's the best thing people can have as a creative is a platform. In life, not just as being a creative. Like, it's one thing that we've talked about a lot on this podcast and our other podcast, DNA podcast, is like just giving people a platform to speak. Like, don't speak for other people. Give them a platform for them to speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And allow them to empower them
story.
and tell their story. Not only that, but like, don't speak on behalf of a certain group of people. Get that person and have them speak for themselves. Like, everybody has a right to speak for themselves. Everybody has an idea. Everybody has a thought. Everybody has an opinion. Let them speak, and it'll be what it is, bro. The best feeling is seeing other people be empowered and giving them that platform. And you don't know what they can do from that platform can turn into a catapult and into something else. And like,
I just want to touch on mental health because this pandemic really helped a lot of people grow. Being in a position where like you might be feeling suicidal or feeling like you're fucking shit, having those components or those people in your life that can like get you out of that is fucking beautiful, you know. And that's where you create that chemistry and that community where, like you said, you don't want to throw an idea, but you also don't want to be kicking rocks with your homies because they're gonna pull you out of that gutter, you know. And some people don't want to be pulled out of that because it's comfort. And when you're with your homies, you're like, nah, fool, like come join us. Like don't feel bad. Don't be in that position. Like, look, check it out. Look at it in this perspective, and the shit clicks. You know, mental health for me is very important because I went through it, and I'm going through it right now through some struggles of my own. But I've seen these two cats like become beautiful men. Like Noah said the other day, he's like, yo, look at this. Not just beautiful in like their appearance, but like their how and their growth, their energy,
their soul, their aura.
You can tell when someone's in a good place.
Right.
It's very visible. And like how you were saying, you want to, you know, empower those people, and like when you see them and you see they're doing great, like you could be in a dark place. Everybody goes through shit.
Yeah.
Everybody.
That's
Nobody
universal.
lives a perfect life. Everybody has their own struggles. Everybody has their downfalls. But it's nice knowing that you have people that in your corner, having a strong corner, that love, respect you, that want to see you do well, that want to see you in a good place, and that they too have been in the same shit you've been in. Like, it's funny enough, just between us, we were going through the exact same thing at the exact same time. Literally, it's scary.
We'll talk about it after the camera's off, but it's almost identical. It doesn't make sense,
and it doesn't make sense. But we're in this shit together, and it's like it's kind of like that. You know, that's why they do this in the military. That's why they, you know, you have to the people you're gonna be closest with are the people you go through boot camp with. It's people you go through hardship with. It's the people that, you know, you both are in the lowest of low, and you're gonna come up out of this and you're gonna be closer with that person. You have to go through struggles with people. We became close like through those hard times. We had known each other since 6th grade, how we talk about, and we were friends. We didn't become close until like 2013.
Yeah. And
since that point, we're inseparable because we both went through hardship, and we overcame it at the same time. And highs and lows, but we both like always like, as low as I've been, I've always encouraged him and like told him like, hey, you know, you're doing good, checking on him, and vice versa. If I've been low, try to do the same. It's reciprocating energy. It's like you want to see your people do good, and that's what it all boils down to. Community at the end of the day, like who's in your corner.
It's funny because a podcast at the end of the day, like, you'd be surprised. Sometimes people just want to be listened to, like, and that's essentially kind of what this is. Like, this. What like we've done for each other with other friends, like just listening. Sometimes people just need to be listened to. That's what
the word's heard.
Yeah, you get what I mean. But that's
English is his second language.
Second language. It's not my best one, clearly. But that's what this is, just with camera and lighting. Like this, it's not much difference.
All it is the camera's rolling,
and I feel like that's what's relatable to people. Like that's what's gonna keep people drawn in, and that's why like our podcasts go a little long sometimes. But I feel like they stay for the most part because of the relatability.
You know, what I commend you guys, and maybe we can, I don't know how far or how long you guys want to go, but your guys' personalities really shine on this podcast, and you guys are really funny. You guys are really witty. You guys say a lot of stuff. I mean, this podcast usually, because us three are kind of very serious, and we're like, we joke around, but Luis, I don't know why he's been kind of serious today, but seriously, like, you guys are yourselves on and off the mic, and that's really cool. And I think that's why we wanted to jump on this, because you guys have a dope ass insight on podcasting and just life itself, and just all these these struggles that you know people go through. And so we wanted to kind of brush shoulders with you guys so that we can you know get that same energy and take that shit with us. When we on our next endeavor, you know, and hopefully we can continue to collaborate, not just on the podcast, but maybe do a collaboration with like, you know, whatever, you know, whatever happens would be kind of dope.
Yeah,
with you
like
guys.
we obviously, like, now that, you know, we met each other, conversations and stuff like that, like, it's so much, you made that bridge, and we're all creative people, so something could come up at any moment, and like we're always down. If we're busy. I mean, with our own companies, with our own family businesses and stuff, and on top of that, you know, being a part of a family, but we always make time, and we always want to do as much as we can within our capability of, you know, interacting and just showing up. Like, you know, that's kind of like what it takes, and we love it. We love interacting with everybody. We love talking with people, bro. Like, and we love just being ourselves at all times. Like, we can be serious, but our serious is different from a lot of people's serious. Like, this is, believe it or not, bro, this Heaven's Demons podcast is the serious version.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Of the
saying.
DNA podcast.
Oh, okay.
DNA was,
I thought with us.
DNA had a should have had an expiration date
It
for a
should have,
reason.
and it could have kept going, but it was like, I had to ask myself, bro, it's like,
How serious do you want to be
how
taken?
serious do you want to be taken? Like, there's only so much, like, from the birth of DNA podcast is like, yo, I just want to talk shit with my friends, and I think we're, you know, not to toot our own horns, I think we're pretty funny, and I think people would like to hear conversations like this. I want to shed light on, you know, mental health and stuff like that.
Right.
But it kind of ran its course, like, okay, what's the next step? And it's like, oh, like, we have knowledge, and we always kind of complain amongst ourselves, like, you know, I wish we had somebody to tell us.
Yeah, I wish I got that free game.
Yeah,
like
and
fuck.
For reals.
we need to do that.
You guys do it in a way where it's like, oh, it's relatable and it's funny and it's witty, so like it's fun to listen to. I've been listening to a lot of your guys' stuff, and it's like very insightful, but at the same time, like every other bar is like fucking, I'm dying, you know, I'm laughing, and I gotta pause that shit because I gotta digest it. all the
Exactly what we
shit
just
you guys-
said.
What did I just listen to?
Yeah.
Something I just want to mention to the listeners, if like you have like a group of individuals that you want to reach out to, or like you're scared to approach or anything, like don't hesitate, reach out to them. Like us, we mentioned we had chatted for 2 hours before we started the
Yeah.
podcast. We have so much similarities that like we wouldn't have known about.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. So
It's almost kind of the Westside version. Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
what, like Daniel said.
Exactly.
Like,
Like,
what
pretty
the
wild.
fuck?
Don't be
It's
afraid.
like for the Spider-Man meme of like,
that was us. That was us.
yeah.
Behind the camera talking
Yeah.
for 2 hours. Like, it was a trip. So if you've got anybody you want to reach out to, if you are a brand that wants to collaborate with another brand, don't be afraid to reach out, do it, connect, meet up, and you'll find out how much similarities you guys have in common. It's crazy.
in a moment of full transparency, like for on my end, like seeing what you guys did and like how you guys do your podcast and stuff, it's like, you know, I love to how we talk about like we want to do that 1 year no guests, like us learn how to do podcasts, us be secure and have something. Like, you can't just come to people and like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Type of thing. Like, and seeing you guys, it's like, fuck, like how can we get like to where it makes sense for them to come on the podcast?
Yeah.
Like, we're too, like, we do podcasting,
Yeah. It's
but
different.
But
it's
it was two different worlds.
because
It was
we're
two different
jackass.
worlds.
We're DNA podcast. We're jackasses the whole episode talking about, I mean, the shit you shouldn't be talking
Yeah,
about.
go
on
back and
camera.
listen if you want to.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it again, but it's like
Yeah, yeah.
There was
you
no
guys.
there was no consistent structure to it.
Yeah,
and
there's-
you guys were structured,
Right,
like your
off the bat,
production,
off the
your
bat.
audio,
Yeah.
everything, the whole package. I was like, well, we're definitely not that.
Yeah, we're not that. We're like the National Lampoon version of fucking podcasting, bro.
But
Like,
we're thinking the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
we are structured and we have this approach to it, but this is kind of the
This
first
is-
one that we're on, that we're
This is fun.
shooting the shit, having
Yeah.
fun, talking, like. So I
By the
think
way,
it's
but so everybody knows, there's no talking points. We didn't have any
Obviously,
pre-production,
no.
nothing. Like,
Yeah.
which is kind of what we do for Heaven's Demons. It's like we maybe have like 3 things on the agenda. We'll talk about it for like 2 minutes. It's like, all right, turn the cameras on. Let's go.
So this was a great, like,
That's
we
why it's
collided.
organic.
Two
Yeah.
worlds kind of collided
Yeah.
today, where there is like a structured kind of podcast, more like free, open flow,
Yeah.
top, like, you know, daily topics kind of thing, kind of talk. They
Yeah.
just met, and dude, I feel like we flourish. We
yeah, no, that it's
We
just
rock with
natural.
this.
That's why I love that is free form, just talk.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, that's what podcasting is. Conversate, like, have your talking points.
Right.
And the year and a half of us podcasting, going on 2 years, like, we learned how to transition and to get to those things. Like, we used to
Yeah.
have a little whiteboard that we would write
That
topics
fucking
on and like
whiteboard.
kind of look to the side, like, oh yeah, what do we need
dude,
to talk
that's
about?
me most of the time.
And
Yeah.
it's distracting, but it's like it disrupts the flow.
Yeah.
And that podcasting is about flow. It's about getting people in that listening rhythm of like I'm sure for everybody else, they're probably gonna look and like, fuck, it's already gonna be 2 hours of this shit, and like, what did they even talk about? Like,
What have they said?
What have they said? But I know these guys.
Yeah.
Like I know them. Like, or I know somebody like them, or I didn't know that about them. Like learning about you and you being a touring DJ, and now you have residencies. It's like, bro, like what the fuck? Like, how else do you learn about that unless I meet you?
Yeah.
Right. Same
And-
with you, with like in your fashion and like how you did all that.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, what?
And knowing he was a track star, and like
At the
knowing-
same school I went to.
At the same school
Bro,
he
I
went
was like,
to.
what the fuck? I was
All
like,
you
I
fools
knew.
were in Fullerton.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I knew track
Bro,
athletes. I
we're
was like, it's a
fully
small
boys,
world.
and we're
For
didn't even know.
Hey,
it.
we coined the term fully boys. I don't know if you guys ever heard the term before that. So
Y'all were there
like
before
that.
us.
Yeah, we're there before.
did you hear of fully boys? Like, did you ever hear the term?
No?
Did you hear the term?
Cool. Then I know we coined it. Yeah, I know where it came from.
Toughies, bro.
Toughies.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
hey, you coined that, not me.
Look that up in the
Hey, it's our. Oh my god, bro. We're
He's
the Titans, but our fucking mascot's an elephant. Tuffy the elephant.
Hey,
It's
he's
not
like,
tough at all.
What the fuck did you just? What did
That's
you just
right.
say, bro?
That's right.
Bro, yeah, no. I remember,
Tusks up,
bro,
trunks
and
out.
I wasn't.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hold that back.
But it's cool like to see like the commonalities and how we
Right.
just missed each other, and like, you know, you guys being, you know, older, and like we came into Fullerton when you guys left, like,
Yeah,
and
wild.
and just
Yeah.
and seeing that, it's like, yeah, we went and like same thing, bro, just some fucking knuckleheads from the valley going to this valley part 2 and
Fucking shit up.
You
fucking
brought
shit
your
up.
culture from over there, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That
You
was a
went, you
problem.
learned, and you fucked around. You came back with some knowledge, some culture. You're putting people on, you know, like all these people that are in the desert that are scared to do things. You guys went out and you guys saw these things that are capable. Like Fullerton is a commuter city, so people go learn and go home.
Go home.
And so
Yeah.
like all this shit that you're learning, you're taking it back home, and you guys learned some shit, came back, and you guys are putting people on.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, we learned fucking Thunderstruck. We learned fucking Rage Cage.
Flabongo.
We learned Flabongos. We learned Dizzy Bats.
There's a lot of things.
I did gymnastics. I did
fucking do that.
aikido. I did fucking ceramics. Potter. What do you call
See,
the-
two very different styles.
Glass,
Hey, bro.
glass blowing.
I don't want
You guys took doors off fucking closets and played beer pong.
There's
Like,
half the things I haven't even told you about yet.
Yeah,
But now,
yeah,
I really,
there's-
now I
there's a
really
lot of
don't.
other
Now I
stuff.
really don't want to say
Yeah,
it.
bro, you very. There was a different Fullerton when we went, clearly. But yeah, bro, like fucking, hey, we brought back Faderade. We just fucking just all kinds of shit, and like it was cool
Vodka
because
diet, you know, fucking
vodka diet. Like I went to LA first, and it was funny how he said he's from LA, and he grew up down the street from where I went to college for a year, and I brought what I learned there to Fullerton, because
Fullerton,
I didn't
yeah.
go to Fullerton first. I went to Long Beach to go to school there, and then moved to LA, lived
recruited
there,
him. I
and he
recruited him.
recruited me. He's like, hey, whenever he wrote it, I think in a happy birthday or something, or in my yearbook, he's like, if you ever want to come out to Fullerton and we show you how to party, like, let me know.
Yeah.
And so I took him up on the offer, and like, shit, that's all it was, bro. Like,
I Rick Pitino'd him during
hey, bro,
recruiting.
Yeah.
put us on your LA life, like, because a lot of people don't know that.
Damn. I'll make it short. Yeah, just born in LA, in Inglewood, Centinela.
were you up to no good?
Well, always up to no good. Shout out City of Champions. Grew up in Carson, the harbor area,
Yeah,
by Dominguez
where
Hills.
Dominguez Hills
Yeah,
is.
off Avalon. Lived in Gardena as well. And then moved out here in the valley in 2004. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's where I got my love for LA sports. Shout out
swag,
Lakers
bro,
and
your swag.
Dodgers, and yeah, I mean, just the style out there. I grew up around. The schools that I went to were mostly black, so that's where I got my love for like Jordans and that whole swag.
Being exposed.
Being
That
LA
exposed
culture.
to
Like
that,
that.
to all that, because coming
Very
from
LA
probably your community out there, it's like a certain type of shoes. Everybody's a certain way.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
dressing.
Oh
a certain
yeah,
way.
out there, if you can't wear the same shoes like twice. Like the next day, you can't wear the same shoes. You get called out for it.
Yeah.
You get jacked out there. It made me tough. It made me real tough. Made me, keep eyes in the back of my head. I had my older brother out there as well, so he taught me a lot. he was in the graffiti culture growing up, so he taught me a lot about that. He put me up on game on music, on just rap, hip hop, oldies as well, and then rock, alternative. Like I'm multicultural when it comes to music. So yeah, it gave me a sense of culture and just style that I learned from out there that I brought out here that there really wasn't much of out here.
Bro.
I started school at James Workman, right? There was maybe I can count how many black kids I had, how many black friends I had in at James Workman in Cat City compared to where I was at. So it was different. It was an adjustment, and I don't know. I felt like it helped me grow up, coming from out there, and gave me that tough skin. And yeah, just creatively too. I bring a lot of that into it. And yeah, that's kind of
Which is kind of cool to hear though, because you kind of see what that culture cultivated in your life, and you in turn, being elsewhere, you kind of yourself want to cultivate a certain culture as well, which is kind of like the beauty of it.
And that's kind of what I like to bring to the podcast too. Just that style, that kind of swagger of like that LA mentality, that LA style, that like 80s LA. I love that. Like I'm big on like summertime. I keep telling them, just that LA like 80s 90s summer. It's my shit. That's like my thing. We just made a playlist for the Flat Black Art Show on July 10th. Summertime. Show up if you don't have any plans. David's got he's gonna have a section of the gallery for him. He's gonna be hanging up his art there, so come check that out. Disco's gonna be DJing. Yeah, roll
Bobby
up,
Disco.
That's right. And then that's mostly it. Just community.
Finally, I hope you take from this that.
Yeah,
If you take away anything from this,
it's funny because like my other alias is like Soccer Poppy because I'm a big soccer.
hey, staring you in the face, bro. At this point now,
Put it together, bro.
now I just think
He's
you don't
all, I
want
got
to.
it. Soccer disco. Like, God, he fucking disco soccer.
That tag has to be a Latina now saying
You
disco,
gave me
bro.
the great idea. Though.
Dude,
He's
do
all
some
about the
shit
fucking
now.
soccer balls of disco, dog.
Soccer balls of disco.
Like, oh, fuck.
Hey, bro.
Bro, I
This,
need to make a chain like that.
I'm surprised you haven't already.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Hey, you really want to commit? There you go.
I don't think you're committed.
I think I'm doing it. I'm committed.
Commitment now.
Question your commitment, bro.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's alright.
No.
But-
Not to step on your childhood or anything. With Poppy Disco. But you know the
No,
disco
that's my
ball gets in
tag.
there
That-
with
that-
everything.
That's the tag for my life now. Bobby Disco.
Poppy Disco. He's all, fuck, I can't get away from this thing.
Soundtrack to my life. That's the tag for it.
Hey. But that's cool to hear, like, it's reflective in your style because I saw, like, your Jordans on, and I wasn't a big Jordan person because my dad wasn't either. Like, I grew up on my dad, being a front man and stuff like that, but skateboarding, rocking. But
That's me.
I listened to,
That's me too.
my introduction to rap was The Chronic because my dad had a CD folder.
Fire.
And I remember going in there to try to find a Bob Marley CD, and I saw the black CD with the pot leaf on. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Put it in, and it's a fucking Chronic, and it was hip hop from then on out. Like I was just listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers, Slipknot, and like all this stuff up until that point. So it opened up my eyes. I remember my dad telling me like, why do you want to listen to the same thing every day? Like, don't you want to listen to something else? And like, you don't want to be that person that just listens to one thing. You don't want to be that person that dresses to one thing or eats one thing. Like you want to be able to be diverse. So like I remember family trips of listening to the Police, the Smiths, and then Depeche Mode, and then throw on Slipknot and D12, and just like such a wide range in a 2-hour car ride or an hour and a half on my way to soccer. And it's like, or football, and like just
Playing
like
Slipknot.
playing Slipknot. Bro, I'd go to church. I'd go to church listening to Slipknot, and my mom not knowing what they're talking about. Like, and it's not like my mom doesn't speak English.
And then you're praying.
Yeah, bro, I'm listening to the Heretic Anthem, going to fucking church, and it's not. And my mom just doesn't know what that stuff is. Like, she grew up listening to Lisa, Debbie Deb, and like all this stuff, but she doesn't know what the fuck they're singing. She's like, what's her obsession with goats? Like, what is this? And my mom, like, it's nothing, mom. It's whatever.
Don't worry
Like,
about it, Mom.
Don't worry
it's
about it,
culture.
Mom.
You wouldn't understand. And like listening to that, bro, like I grew up in a unique way. So hearing how you grew up, it's like, bro, it's same thing. Like I'm listening to all these, like I'm listening to EPMD, I'm listening to Outkast, I'm listening to all kinds of stuff, and like my other homies, they don't know it, and I'm going to like, I'm going to Jackson, which is like heavily Mexican, but like I'm making friends with like black kids that go to school there that they listen to the same shit I listen to, or like they know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh fuck, like this is so cool. Like finally somebody that I can relate to on a different level, and like putting them onto fucking Mr. Capone and like all kinds of stuff that I'm listening to when I'm not listening to that. And it's like everywhere I go, like I like finding like similarities with people. Like I can have a conversation with anybody, and I love that about myself. Is like you could throw me in a room and I can find something to talk about. And even if I don't know it, I want to hear you talk about it, and I'll contribute something. I'll contribute something to it, or make you feel comfortable to speak on it.
I feel like that helps, man. That gets you far in this, like, especially this kind of culture that we're in, right? You're in the like the clothing, the fashion, like.
Fireworks.
That's fireworks. It's India, bro.
Hey, bro. Hey, I understand.
I understand. LA trigger, like
LA life.
The LA life.
But I mean, yeah, that's what gets you far, man. Being open to learning about just different cultures, different style of music, bringing it on. It's worth it too, trying to learn all it, because all that is good stuff, man. There's a little bit of good in all types of music that you can pick up. So
all types of different cultures. Like you don't know what you can learn from somebody. So, like, just be open and break down those barriers that you have within yourself. Like you don't know what you can learn from somebody. I won't be at Latin Nights every Wednesday if he didn't tell me that he was DJing there and that he knew how to DJ and that he's gonna be playing Raw and Setch over there. Like I'll be there now.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so much that you could learn, and like if you just be open to talk to people. Like, and I feel like also what helped is that we all went to college.
Yeah.
So we all got out of our high school element, and we're forced to meet new people, and we're forced to talk to people that aren't from where you're from.
Right.
Know how to socialize.
Know how to socialize.
And have a
like,
good time.
And that's we brought that back as well. Like, hey, bro, like you can talk to that person. Like, I know they're from a different neighborhood, but you can talk to them.
Hey, you don't have to dog them every time. Like you can say like, oh, what's up, dude?
Yeah, like, hey, bro, their brother bangs, you don't. Like, just relax a bit,
Right.
So you got more in common with these people that you're afraid to go and talk to than you think.
Yeah. So. Hey, but I think this was a solid podcast, bro. We went on longer than I thought we were. I'll be honest, I didn't know how this was gonna go, but we're gonna make the most of it. And
I thought we had
glad,
a podcast before we actually even started.
Bro, that was a podcast within itself.
Yeah, but I'm glad there was no cameras because it was just like I'm really curious to see how everybody actually is.
Yeah. You get to learn.
But it was good to see.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro.
We appreciate you having you guys on. Like,
Thank
it
you
was
guys for
awesome.
having us, bro, for real.
Yeah, thank you, and that's it, guys. Go listen, subscribe to Selected Series. Stay tuned.
Seed Planner
Seed
podcast.
Planner podcast as well. Disco, DJ Disco, Papi Disco.
Latin night tomorrow.
Latin night tomorrow, every Wednesday. Where you at on Thursday? Where you at on Thursday?
I work at in CC and then Antigua and Bart on the weekends.
On the weekends.
Hey, Bart every other Saturday.
On the ones and twos.
I already got your schedule. I got your residency now.
Go out there. July 10th, Flat Black Shop.
Thank you.
Yeah,
sir.
bro, just start plugging all events.
Hey,
bro.
somebody's already wearing our collection that's
And
still
it looks
on
good
sale.
on it, bro. It looks good.
Hey, still on sale until this Friday. We're closing
Yeah.
down the shop, so y'all know.
So
Go
soft and it
rush
smells
to get it.
amazing.
Hey, soft,
See?
amazing. That's Heaven's Demons.
That's Heaven's Demons right there. Soft smell.
To a
amazing.
T. But yeah, if you guys don't have anything else, you guys want to sign off until next week?
Sign off.
Peace.
Hey, with love and respect. Peace.
Respectfully.